Hello everyone, and welcome to Bobsheauxween Live! As you can see, it is a delightfully dreary evening out tonight, because we are going to delve into Quarantine-O-Ween. As you can see, I'm all done up for the occasion, and rather dapperly, I think. And we are, of course, joined here by my lovely mistress of the dark herself, Raven.
Greetings, honored guest.
Isn't she something? So, we are here to do a little bit of story time with Bobsheaux with some classic tales of terror, including... Gotta have the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe, of course. Maybe a little bit of reading from this collection of penny dreadfuls. Classic.
I'm finding out what we're reading at the same time you guys are, because we didn't discuss this ahead of time.
We did not. It has been just too busy to really set anything up here. But that's okay, because if Halloween is known for anything, it's chaos. And that box that these books are sitting on is about to collapse, so let's just put these over here for the time being.
Quarantine-O-Ween.
Quarantine-O-Ween, yes.
It's not Halloween, we're aware. It's Quarantine-O-Ween.
Quarantine-O-Ween. We are celebrating Quarantine Spirit Week. And what could be more spirited than Halloween Part 2? You can't keep Halloween in the grave forever for an entire year.
I am fully prepared to celebrate Halloween twice a year.
Yes, as am I, clearly.
I sound like I'm talking into a can?
You're sounding like you're talking into a can because you are speaking through my speakers, and that's how the audio is picking you up, as opposed to over the computer audio, if that makes sense. Last time we were having...
we can do about it?
There is. We could have you speaking directly through the computer, which would be more clear. But then, Actually, hang on. I want to avoid any reverb on your part. And if you were speaking through the computer here, then we would have to lose the... No, we wouldn't.
And other people someone else said they're not hearing me very well either.
They're not hearing you very well. Okay. I'm going to see if I can reach you with my little earbuds here from the computer to where I'm currently sitting. I think we should. Let me see. And you guys should not be able to hear Raven for the moment, but can you hear me? Or say something, baby? Yes. Okay, I can hear you fine. Let's see what happens when I... And I just turned on the computer sound here, which means that we should hear you a lot more clearly, and there is no reverb, I would think. Just gotta wait. Oh my god. Yes, Raven is the ghost host. That'd be great. There is a way to do that. Yes, I was actually looking into that this weekend. But, yeah, there's a way to do that. We have not had time to figure that out yet, but we will for future streams, because... Gotta have my lady on screen, because she is gorgeous. No? Nobody can hear you? That is strange. I don't know what is up with that. Let me check the properties here. How about... I'm seeing my little levels bouncing around here. We should be hearing both the thunder crackling in the background as well as the fireplace there. And your voice, if you could say something, my lady?
My voice. Foolish mortals.
Yes, Raven Fox as the ghost hostess in Disney's Haunted Mansion. That would be amazing. Of course, there's always my way.
Colin can hear me.
Colin can hear you. Good.
I think Daryl, aka Jeannie Stewart, can hear me.
Okay. So...
Everybody can hear me. Okay.
And the levels aren't too bad? She's at a good volume?
I should probably say something so that they can add. Okay. We lost the reverb. We got Raven back. Thank you, Archer Slam Band.
Very good.
Sounds better.
By the way, Archer...
Demo, who's the one that said I sounded like I was talking out of a can.
By the way, Archer, loved your Joker costume. That was great.
Okay.
Excellent.
I think our technical issues have been remedied.
For the time being, one thing I definitely want to do is I want to find an extension cord for my headphones here because I'm feeling a little bit tethered right now. But hey, that's fine. Just strangle me right here and now.
Where are they connected? In front of you or behind you?
They're in front of me.
Okay, well you can't putting them behind you won't help.
No, they would not. So you're just going to have to deal with
If
this.
only you had some wireless earphones.
Me. I will get them when I get a little bit more cash handy.
Okay, so guys,
Alex Snazzy.
who brought their candy for Quarantine-O-Ween?
Ooh! I did.
What? This is going to be the first sweets you've eaten in how long?
A while, actually.
Yeah.
Since Christmas, probably. But yes, I have been partaking in the keto diet, which means no carbs, no sugars, all the good stuff.
Well, not no carbs, very low carbs.
Yeah. And it's actually been doing me a lot of good. I have actually lost 20 pounds with no additional exercise from what I've normally been doing. Of course, I'm dashing here and there as I'm doing my pizza guy thing. But otherwise, I am losing a lot of weight just by cutting some very non-essential things out of my diet. So, thank you, Keto. I am going to treat myself a little bit here, but hey, it's the holidays. What am I going to do?
Yes, you deserve to have a little bit of a splurge every once in a while.
Thank you. And like with regular Halloween candy, you gotta pace yourself. I have got Twix, I've got Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, I've got Whoppers, and I've got Little Crunch Bunch, and Peanut Butter M&Ms. It's quite a haul here for my lack of trick-or-treating here, but it's not like I'm gonna go through it all just tonight, so...
Colin says he gets all of his exercise from his job, which is working at a grocery store. Thank you for your service in this day and age, Colin. We do appreciate you.
Yes, you are certainly getting your workout in this time around, aren't you?
He is the definition of an essential employee.
Yes, good for you and people in your industry. So, thank you for your
You'll
service.
just have to picture me dressed as Sally. Since you can't see me, I'm dressed however you want me to be dressed. Oh, wait a minute, that could lead to bad things.
Bad things or very, very good things?
Well, within family-friendly reason. How about that?
Yes. All of you at home, just imagine that she is in fact dressed up like Sally. I will be busy imagining her not dressed up as Sally.
Dressed like I was earlier.
Down, boy!
Behave.
Oh, don't tell me you don't love it.
Behave. Alright, so... Let's see.
I gotta say, I'm very pleased with myself, if I might just take a moment to pat myself on the back. I love how I was able to do all of this with the images here. I mean, okay, so figured out green screening, finally. That's awesome. But I've also made myself all black and white.
I'm not noticing any kind of static or stuttering in the background or anything. It's
No.
good.
No.
Differently.
I'm not really sure. I looked into a few tutorials online, and they said to tweak this, that, and the other. Okay, not really sure what I'm doing, but and it's working fine. I got my fireplace going. I got my spooky storm out here going, and I'm even flickering an old film grain because I got a little.
Bunny and the bird is Little Raven and Mama.
And what are they saying?
That Little Raven misses us.
Oh, must she? We're right here.
Yeah.
Is she watching?
This might be kind of late for her.
Yes, I suppose it might be past bedtime, mustn't it? Or mightn't it? Hi, Little Raven. But we will be available for viewing again this weekend, so we do have that.
Oh, she is there.
She is there. Hello.
Hi, Raven. Is she dressed up for Quarantine-O-Ween?
This looks cool. It does, Lewis. Thank you.
We have not yet watched Razorblade's Titanic TV series review because that is on Bobsheaux's agenda at some point. And he has the rule where he doesn't watch a review of something that he's planning on reviewing himself until after he's reviewed it.
I cannot let anyone else's opinion inform my own. It has to be completely separate from that. Which, again, is weird considering how we've got like a handful of jokes between my review for the Oogie Loves and Brad Jones. that was so freaky. But it's hilarious. We saw Razorblade's a review for Tentaclino some weeks ago, and the second he started to say, what can I add to this? What can I do that no one else has ever done? Oh no. He's not gonna. Oh my god, he is!
What was that? Now I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long week.
I immediately could tell that he was going to review the ill-seen, never-reviewed spin-off show of Tentaclino. I knew that he was going to.
Yes.
I was like, no, he got to it first. But you know what? He does have a point in that so many people have done Tentaclino before. It does seem kind of pointless for him to do it now, I suppose. I can see where he would come from with that. I don't think so, because there's still a lot that could be deconstructed in that movie. He came up with the theory that this is all North Korean propaganda, which I never thought of before, but now I can't see anything but.
I know.
Crazy,
That's
right?
Amazing.
So, yeah, okay, you know what? You have this, sir. You go and roll with it.
Typing. I am going to get the link to his Tentaclino review, the Tentaclino TV series review, so I can post it. Because we haven't seen it, but we recommend it because we know.
Yes.
I'm sure it's going to be absolutely amazing.
He has given us no reason to think it wouldn't be.
So, we don't know why there's a show.
We don't know why there's a movie. I mean, I'm not very fond of my impression of James Rolfe, but I will give you the guys this much. What were they thinking? Just,
Little Raven is getting ready for bed.
Aww.
So good night. And they're making stuff for us. Remember they asked about our favorite colors.
That's right.
So I can't wait. I'm sure it's going to be precious.
Squee!
And Super Disney fan, I have done all three of those things, but not at the same time.
Oh, what
yes,
three things?
I have smoked marijuana, watched The Wizard of Oz, and listens to Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon album.
I need to do that, actually.
Why? What is the... Well, you can't smoke marijuana!
Apparently I need weed smoking classes.
No, it's because you've never smoked. You don't know how to inhale.
I don't know how to breathe, apparently.
No, it's not something that just comes natural to people. Breathing toxins into their lungs.
It's just sucking in, isn't it? I mean,
No.
I can't can't even inhale helium. I got a balloon here.
Yeah, you're just wrong. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Okay, and this is what I sound like when I suck on helium. Damn it! Ugh. So, yeah, no idea what's going on with that. But, yeah, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon with Wizard of Oz. I've heard that's a thing. I don't know how, but alright, let's listen to it.
But, yeah, as we were saying...
What were we saying? Oh, she's taking a puff now. Gotcha.
Yes, I intended to do this so that I could thoroughly enjoy my Quarantine-O-Ween candy.
And of course, the funny's gonna come out during the stream, and she is going to be giggling up a storm.
Yes, he's funny when I'm not stoned, but my god, he's hilarious when I'm stoned. And you guys are too. Everything's funny.
I'm funnier with substance abuse.
This is not substance abuse, it's legal.
Oh yes, of course.
You just shut your face.
And speaking of things that are legal, I must partake in my own brand of poison here.
I can't wait to see what it is, because I can't see it yet. It hasn't popped up on the screen.
You'll see it, and it is indeed poison.
Oh, that is so cool. He got that. Did you get that for a Christmas present?
Yep, just this last Christmas. It is quite snazzy. My brother gave it to me just for the purpose of being a prop or a set piece on the show. So
very, very supportive.
So thank you, Black Lantern Dave, who cannot be with us today because he's dead. But then he's black.
Say that. People actually believe in you. This is the coronavirus epidemic, man.
Sorry, black humor. He's only dead in that so much as a Black Lantern would be. He's alive-ish. But no. All seriousness, though, he's fine. His family is fine. Everything's cool. We're all fine here.
What alcohol is in there, by the way?
That is my particular favorite drink, Long Island iced tea. So, you know.
Ah, yes.
I'm good. And what is the name of what you're smoking currently?
Oh, gosh. What is it? Green crack.
Green crack. Nice.
Yes. Perfectly safe. Perfectly legal.
Okay. I will take your word for it. No idea what what you're talking about.
Yes. We tried edibles the last time I was in California. And I am scared of edibles because I have such a low tolerance for anything. I cannot hold my liquor. I belie the fact that I am part Native American and very much Irish.
I was going to say, what kind of Irish woman are you?
I don't know.
You sicken me.
Oh goodness, it's terrible. But you've ever taken like NyQuil or something, and you know it makes a lot of people kind of sleepy. It knocks me out for 24 hours. No joke. It puts me out. If you get a prescription that says may cause drowsiness, I'm dead to the world for days. I have no tolerance.
Speaking of edibles, yummy.
But he couldn't smoke. I tried to let him smoke weed when I was there the very first time, and he just couldn't do it. So we were going to try edibles this time. And we must have gotten a bad strain. I don't know what it was. It made us depressed. At
Disneyland.
Wrong stuff.
Or more accurately, the California Adventure, which Raven has a lot more fun at than Disneyland itself.
That's right. Yeah. We snuck it into California Adventure, and we had it in our ice chest. And it was not good. Did not have the intended effect. I thought it would make us have more fun, you know.
I mean, now granted, it was a hot August day in California. Do the math. And of course the lines are long because it's summer vacation. Everyone's visiting the parks, but still I don't want to be here right now. But then we got on the ride, everything was cool, so, you know. And then we decided, no, we don't want to be doing this stuff anymore, do we? This is wrong.
Fedora is, last we heard, doing very well, enjoying his personal life and just not planning on reviewing anymore.
Unfortunately,
He's
yes.
good. He's good.
Yes, he is good, but he is trying to be more of a family man than a horror man. So, we love you, Fedora. Here's hoping that someday you can come back and balance both.
Yeah, I hope so. No one asked me what my candy of the evening was. But
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I'm a rude bastard. What's your candy, baby?
I went to the convenience store across the street from my studio, and I saw something I had never seen before.
What's that?
Coffee nut M&Ms.
Ooh, yes. They're experimenting with some things these days, aren't they?
M&Ms, so I'm trying this. I also have Ritz crackers because that's what I was craving. Not much of a candy, but...
Hey, it's a treat. Better than granola or pennies.
Fedora did not die.
Hmm?
Why are you saying rest in peace, Fedora?
Retire in peace?
Retire in peace. That's a good one. This is good. If you like coffee, you would hate these.
That's okay. I'm good.
Very coffee. But they're good. Okay, I think we should start taking voice suggestions. What do you think?
Excellent.
Throw them at me. 67 people watching.
67, wow. I think it must be some kind of a record.
Now 70.
70, lovely. It's because everyone's home.
Yeah. Private Snafu. You know who that is? Don't do it. I've never heard of them.
I do not, I'm afraid, sorry.
Okay. You gotta know which Joker. I don't think I've ever heard him do that voice, but I'm definitely into the actor that owns it.
What is that?
Sam Elliott. Don't do it.
I'm not doing it. I am playing with the weird lighting that I got going on here. Whoa.
Okay.
Oh, I lost it. Urgh. This weird halo coming off my book.
I did not hear what you said we were going to be reading.
I did not say everything. I just got a couple of options here from which we can choose. We've got the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe. We have Penny Dreadfuls. One of my particular favorites is in there. We have classic ghost stories. Really laying on the horror here. Classic supernatural stories, featuring a very aptly dressed plague doctor for this Quarantine-O-Ween stream. Lovely.
That might be too close to home.
Yeah, maybe. And classic horror stories. Da-da-dum!
No, we're not reviewing anything. I'm taking voice suggestions, and Bobsheaux is going to be reading to you guys from some of these books in those voices.
Oh my, do we have some first streamers here?
Well, someone asked if, see who I was at. The Infinite King says, are they going to review something? So.
Not this time around. Although that might be an interesting way of doing something. Set up a stream like this and then cut to an unaired finished review. That might be kind of cool.
Oh my goodness.
What?
I'm already way behind. I'm not used to doing this with people.
Hang in there, baby. You can do it.
Oh, no, I can't.
You can. Ooh, what's that?
Just something that's gonna get your dander up.
Really? Dander, you say? She giggles.
I'm just reading your voice suggestions and I'm already giggling. I told you the puff was a good idea. Oh no.
Because the only thing funner than a raven fox is a slightly high raven fox.
You guys are coming up with so many good ones.
They always do. Can't recall a time they didn't.
Do something entertaining while I'm writing.
Hey, I'm the right Twix. I'm the left Twix. You should vote for me. No, you should vote for me. No, me. No, me. Ah!
Really weird.
That is the extent of my political humor. Thank you. They label these individual Twixes as left and right. What is the difference? I'm sorry. I should be asking that question as Andy Rooney. Now, why do they label them as right and left Twix anyway? You put two in a single package, and of course there's going to be a left and a right. But individually, they're just single Twixes by themselves. Doesn't matter if they would have been left or right in the combined package. Here they're just all by themselves.
What is CPT cookies? It's a marijuana strain. I've never heard of that. Do you know what it comes from?
Meow. That's over my head, I'm afraid.
That's how far back I am. I'm sorry.
How far back? Oh. Yeah, this lag is a bitch, isn't it? But
74 people watching.
nice. But in spite of lagging being a bitch, I'm just happy that everything is still running smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect,
I just realized I did not mute. Y'all can hear me chewing these M&Ms.
I'm glad I'm right. They can see and hear me chew.
And hear me choke on M&Ms.
Oh dear, I'm gonna kill you with this, aren't I?
No, because I'm not going to be eating M&Ms while you're doing this.
Are we sure?
Maybe, no, we're not sure.
But they melt in your mouth, not in your hand. They're so alluring.
We do have a request for you to read the story Telltale Heart.
That was actually on my list. Love that
Did
story.
you give a list, or was this a mental list?
Mental list. Of course, I gotta read the Raven. And I did have the Telltale Heart in mind, so kudos to you, whoever suggested. Who was that?
Sabrina.
Sabrina. Very nice.
Someone else suggested the Raven before.
In retrospect, I'm thinking maybe the individually wrapped candies were a bad idea. Gotta have something that can be easily accessed or drank.
Oh no.
Oh no.
The screen jumped. I'm lost.
Oh dear. Well, you heard her, people. All of the names that you might have missed, throw them at her again!
Oh my god, no! We have completely thrown order out of window. Out of what? Order out the window. We have completely thrown order out the window. I'm just, when I see them, I'm writing them down. The best I can do.
And that's alright, because tonight is all about chaos and uncertainty.
Bobsheaux, have you heard about the 2000 animated movie called Monster Mash?
I have not.
Apparently,
But you need to point
it's
out...
about monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and werewolf trying to prove they can still scare people.
And they needed to point out that it was in the year 2000.
Or no, they said it came out in 2000, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. Sounds delightfully awful. I shall have to check that out.
I'm sad I dropped an M&M.
You didn't.
The waste of coffee.
No.
Wish this had caffeine, man. That would be perfect if you, instead of having a cup of coffee, you can just pop a couple M&Ms.
Yeah, maybe. I can definitely see that. How many voices do we have?
We've got voices to start with.
I was gonna say, how many do we have so far?
I'm almost done with a page. When I divide the page into two, so it's like 2 columns.
Okay. Nice. Let us begin with the Raven. That was the lightning. All right, and who are we reading? Who are we reading with first? Who are we reading with first?
Kenny McCormick.
Of course.
What's the plot of that jury? Everybody acquaint the carriers back in the forgotten door.
Next.
Sam Elliott.
I might be doing this right. I hope so. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this and nothing more."
That's
Next.
good on voice, more accent. You gotta listen to him and get his accent down. He has more of a southern accent than that.
Gotcha.
And it's the version of the southern accent where everything is very round.
Everything is very round.
Yes.
Okay.
Which you did at the end, where you were more,
Alright, next.
Old man from Phaelus.
Don't know any old man from Phaelus, so just Phaelus.
I guess.
Get him out of the way nice and early. I'm sorry.
I love Phaelus.
Just not his voice.
No, I have no idea about the reviewer. I don't have a problem with you doing his voice. It doesn't make me want to, tear out my eardrums or anything.
No, that'll come later, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember ran its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I'd sought to borrow from my book surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore.
Next.
Me.
Bobsheaux reading Raven. Gotcha.
Yes, that was what he was going for.
And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor, entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor, entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more. There you go, I guess. Next.
Grumpy.
Grumpy. Presently, my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. Sir, said I, or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. Wow, this is grumpy.
That was really good.
Thank you. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Next.
And now for a complete 180, Waspinator.
Presently, Waspinator's soul grew stronger. Oh, no, wait. I just read this one. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore? This Waspinator whispered, in an echo murmured back the word, Lenore! Merely this, and nothing more.
It was sponsored post.
Oh? If it's a sponsored post, that means that I have to do it.
Tom,
Who's the
why?
sponsor?
Just why? We were all having a good time.
Oh, and we're going to have a good time, honey. Who is it?
Oh, it's not just the voice. He wants you to sing the next part as Gilbert Gottfried. It better not be a long part. That's all I've got to say to you.
All these stanzas are more or less the same length, give or take a syllable or two.
We did have plans later.
Yes, we did.
We were gonna have to wait and see if whether or not they're going to happen.
Oh, they're going to happen. I know how to get that lady boner back.
Not family-friendly thing to say.
They can't say that in family-friendly shows. They said on The Simpsons. Anywho.
Back into the chamber turning! All my soul within me burning! Hey! Soon again, like heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before!
No! That is an offense to nature.
But we're not done yet.
Surely, said I! Surely that is something up my window where it is! Let me see then what the red is and this mystery explore! 'Tis the wind and nothing more, yeah!
Why?
Because it was sponsored. Yeah.
Rest in peace, earbud user. It's not just me. You shall suffer as well. Everybody, thank you. Say thanks, Tom.
I shall suffer as well. Kinky. Yes, make me suffer. Ah.
Oh, okay. Whew. Everyone is saying thanks, Tom.
Sally's more adventurous than you might think.
Okay. Now moving on to something less horrible.
Yes.
Let's do. How's your Clint Eastwood? It was really good from last time. This seems like a good time for it.
Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven on the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped nor stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. perched and sat, and nothing more. Punk.
That's gonna be really cool when it happens on screen. I can just imagine what you did.
Yeah, keep an eye out for
There
it.
you go.
There it is. Okay. The lag's not too bad. Next.
Okay, next is Curly from the Three Stooges.
Pass.
Galvatron, Leonard Nimoy.
Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling by the grave of stern decorum of the countenance at war. Belch, pardon me. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's plutonium shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. The hell? Next.
Next is
Oh dear.
Mal from The Descendants. Put on your best rotten to the core, babe.
Sorry, what?
Put on your best rotten to the core.
I am going to botch this voice, but I don't care.
Much I marvel this ungainly fowl to hear it discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being yet ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as nevermore.
That is not how she sounds.
I'm evil.
Yes,
Rotten to the core.
yes, she's complaining to Ben how she's not one of these pretty pink princesses. Yes, you are. You are so blonde it hurts. I'm rotten
Alright,
to the
next
cut.
I just want to be good.
This was weird. Henry Enfield or Einfeld, Kevin the Teenager.
Pass.
Harry Einfeld, Kevin the Teenager. Okay. Jar Jar.
I guess I must pay penance for my earlier crime, mustn't I?
Yes. Oh no, Jar Jar's not going to help in that area. Sorry.
Oh, but the raven sitting lonely on the plastered bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore!
Why do you like him?
Funny.
He's annoying! Must drown my sorrows in chocolate and peanut butter.
You can't do voices if you're eating candy. Can you?
Maybe, I don't know. Next.
Next is Mark Hamill's Joker.
Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store. Caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster to the song's one burden bore. To the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore.
And now that you've gotten to do that, you get to do a different Joker, dear.
Who's that?
Leto. If you didn't want to do it, you shouldn't have done such a good job last time.
But the raven still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling. Straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I took myself to linking fancy unto fancy thinking, what this ominous bird of yore, what grim, ungainly, ghastly gaunt of ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking, ah, 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 ah. Ugh. Kill me now.
And now, Heath Ledger's Joker.
This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, with the lamp light gloated o'er, but whose violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore.
Next. Another sponsored post. Why do you guys do this? And you pay money to... See, I could have just said I missed it. Could have.
Who is it?
That was my plan. No, I don't know why anybody didn't request that one. Thanks, Grace.
Thank you, Grace. Then we thought the air grew denser. Perfume from Samantha Dancer. Swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch! I cried. Thy God hath led thee, by these angels he has sent thee! Respite, and repent thee from thy memories of Lenore!
Oh my God, I'm gonna die!
Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore! Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Yeah!
Nevermore is the second word from the day! Ah!
Stoned, I'd be nauseous.
I love you.
No, don't.
Is that you?
No.
Yes.
No. Alright, give me some Captain Barbosa. Cleanse my palate, please.
Prophet, I said, thing of evil, prophet still of bird or devil, whether temper sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate ye all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on his home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gaeland? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. You're welcome.
That was good. That was nice.
Thank you. That's a good pontificating voice. And whose blood must still be paid?
Okay, next we have Adam Sandler.
Oh dear. Yeah, why isn't he on the list of do not voice?
Well, because he's not as bad as the other ones.
Oh yeah. Prophet said I thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, by the heaven that bends us above, by the God we both adore. Tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aiden, it shall clasp a tainted maiden whom the angels call Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, jippity-doo.
Well, first of all, Adam Sandler actually has a very nice singing voice, and he has his regular voice is not terrible. So that helps. We have another sponsored post, and I think you're going to have to make them choose a different one, because I don't think you know these voices. Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z.
Sorry, no. I don't know.
Pick another one. You don't have to responsor it. I'll be looking for your name.
Yes,
It's gotta be
yes.
one that he can do. Sorry.
Who was that?
Hang on. Tyrant X.
Tyrant X. Yes. Tyrant, please think of another voice. I'm sorry, I don't know Dragon Ball. Or most other anime, for that matter.
And please refer to the rules, guys. No SpongeBob. No, Channel Awesome. No anime.
Sorry.
He just doesn't know these voices.
But, yes, what we got next?
Next, while we're waiting for the answer, is Seth Rogen,
Pass.
Dinobot.
Dinobot.
Be that word or sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked up starting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lies that lie that soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Because, of course, Dinobot would be tormented by Rat Trap, of all people.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. Good final voice for this one. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of the demons that is dreaming. And the lamplight o'er him streaming shows his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Nice.
Oh, if only I had someone to do lightning effects for me. That'd be amazing. Thank you.
What are we reading next? Because we have another sponsored post.
Next, let's say we do the Telltale Heart.
Ooh.
498. And what is this sponsored post?
This sponsored post is Minus from Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Pass. Sorry.
Sorry. He doesn't know that one.
Don't know him.
Now we're waiting on two answers on that. Let me go back and see if Tyrant has... Oh wait, Tyrant says Mufasa.
True. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am. But why will you say I'm mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of my hearing acute. I had heard things in heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. Next.
Next is another sponsored post. While we were waiting on Inferno R55 to give another voice suggestion for his or her sponsored post.
Sorry.
Vincent Price as Professor Ratigan, please. Thank you, Elizabeth.
So, Vincent Price on Giggle Gas. Gotcha.
It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none, passion there was none, I loved the old man. He had never wronged me, he had never given me insult. For his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold, and so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. I love it when I'm nasty.
I do have that voice suggestion from the Black Cauldron. I will offer that when I get to it. But you can stop him. You can stop suggesting that because.
Yes, that's not spam, please.
They weren't really spamming. That's why I'm not like, quit spamming. Yeah. I do want them to know that I had heard that one. Okay. Oh God, it's already time for another. Why? Why, guys?
Another sponsor.
No, just I'm to that point on the list. Jeez. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Now, this is the part you fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded. With what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently!
God, no! Forever, you're reading too much.
Actually, this is the least in any voice I've yet read for this session. Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
No.
That was it. It was the implication that Bobcat Goldthwait is peeking into your room watching you sleep. I love you.
No.
Okay, we're done with him. Next.
Thank you. Give me some Liam Neeson.
And then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed so that no light shone out, and then I thrust in my head. Oh, you would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. I moved in slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed. Ha! What madman could have been so wise as this? And then when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously. Oh, so cautiously, for the hinges creaked. I did it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. Next.
Next is Inferno R55, his resubmission. Harley Quinn, Tara Strong. It's a good one.
And this I did for 7 long nights, every night just at midnight. But I found the eye was always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning, when the day broke, I boldly went into the chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by his name Puddin' in a hotly tone, and inquiring how he passed the night. So you see, he would have just been a very profound old man, indeed, to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept.
Harley's watching you sleep.
Rather Harley than Bobcat Goldthwait.
I like looking at you while you sleep.
No. Where are we? You just did that. Scully?
Scully.
I don't know.
Oh no. No. I hate whoever suggested that. Who was that?
A couple of people.
Couple people. Wow. Okay, I hate all of you. They are referring to the stupid flying squirrel from one of the later Swan Princess movies. Remember him?
No.
Who? He was this flying squirrel who somehow knew that Odette was not actually evil.
Oh, yeah.
Despite how everybody in his culture thought she was evil. He somehow knew! And then he died sacrificing himself for the greater good at the end of that movie. And now he's Ghost Yoda.
Okay, we've got 2 sponsors posts after this.
Sorry, moving on.
Ready for the next one? Okay, hang on. I gotta go up here.
Okay, doing Scully.
Oh.
I hate you.
Oh yeah, Scully. And then do this by the next sponsored post.
Yes, thank you. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moved quicker than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers, my own sagacity. I could scarcely contain the feelings of triumph. To think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of this, of my secret deeds or thoughts. Next. Ah!
Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast.
Thank you, someone I can enjoy and have fun with.
Don't do too many of those.
Yeah, really.
They keep him on his toes.
I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he helped me, for he moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was black as pitch with the thick darkness, but the shutters were close-fastened through fear of robbers, and so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, but I kept pushing it on steadily.
Okay, another sponsored post.
Now relax, let us put up a chair, while the dining room proudly presents your murder.
Bravo.
Thank you. Next sponsored post.
I don't know who this is, but it's a sponsored post. Atrocitus from DC.
That's over my head, I'm afraid. Sorry about that.
Alright, Allie O. Justice, could you please make another suggestion?
Yes. We don't need another sponsor, just another voice.
Yes.
To fill in for that.
And it helps if you tag me so that my little orange box pops up and I don't miss it.
I feel bad. So many sponsored posts and I don't know what they are.
Okay, in the meantime,
yes.
let's have Count Chocula.
Oh dear. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening and the old man sprang up in his bed crying out, "Who's there? I'm Dracula!" I kept quite still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in his bed listening, just as I had done, night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Yeah, way to suck the tension out of this incredibly horrific story here. I got Dracula, blah.
Oh god. We have another I'm sorry, my tongue was not working.
Bela Lugosi, I'm so sorry.
Another sponsored post. This one is Nicolas Cage, but during a freak out.
Okay. Presently, I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or of grief. Oh no! It was a low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul, where it overcharged with awe. I knew the sound well. Many at night, just at midnight, when all the world slept, it welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo, and terrors that distracted me. It's creeping at the door.
Oh, I hate that. Oh. I hate that. Ugh.
That's the only thing that can come to mind when someone says Nicolas Cage freak out.
Yes, I know. You ready for... Oh, we have a sponsored post.
Yes.
Sing the next 3 lines as Kermit the Frog.
Oh dear. Let's see, where was I? There it is. I say, I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt. I bid heed him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been Lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he turned in the bed. His fears had been ever since growing upon him. He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. He had been saying to himself, it's just the wind in the chimney. It's only a mouse crossing the floor, or a cricket that made a single chirp.
Good. Very good.
Yeah, Kermit the Frog reading Poe. There you go.
Why not? Alright. Henry Pollock as the Scarecrow.
Henry Pollock is a Scarecrow. I don't know him. Pass.
Alright, just do Scarecrow. Your choice.
Sorry, only Scarecrow I know is Ray Bolger. Let's see.
Well, no, it might have been Scarecrow. Isn't Scarecrow also a Batman villain?
Is that the name of that actor who voiced him?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I know nothing.
I know nothing! Okay, I'll give that Scarecrow a try. Thank you for bringing that up. Even if that's not who this person was talking about, then other Scarecrow, I could do him, I think. Let's see. Yes, he has been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, but he had found all in vain. All in vain, because death, in approaching him, had stalked with his black shadow before him, and enveloped the victim. And it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although he neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my hedge within the room. Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. Alright, we have a sponsored post from King Gabe!
King Gabe!
And he did $10, so you're gonna do 3 voices.
Oh god.
The first one, that's okay, you're gonna like all of them. The first one is Beetlejuice.
When I waited for a long time, very patiently, without hearing am I down, I resolved to top a very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthy, until a full single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot out from the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. Yeah, I'm telling you what that. Next.
Next one, Jack Skellington. This is still part of the sponsored post.
Very nice. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue, with a hideous veil over it, as it chilled the very marrow in my bones. There you go. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. Third voice.
This is, okay, and then I have another the resubmission from the previous sponsored post.
I'm sorry, this is getting complicated.
Remind me. Sorry. The next one is Tim Curry. Your choice. He wasn't specific.
And now I have not told you what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses. Now I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes but enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound well, too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury, as the beating of a drum stimulates a soldier into courage.
That's very good.
Thank you.
Okay, Gmork from Neverending Story. That's the resubmission.
I think I know who that is. I believe that is that scary wolf monster from it. Ugh.
Yes, it's a wolf. It's a wolf something.
Yes,
I remember that.
yes.
But I couldn't write it all down because I'm not writing as quickly as they're talking.
Your brain is writing, but your hand's having trouble.
Exactly. My brain has terrible penmanship.
Sorry. But even yet, I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker, and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. Do you mark me well? I have told you that I am nervous. So I am. And now, at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Next.
Another sponsored post. Read the story like a bad child actor.
What?
Read it like a bad child actor. That is all of the instructions that you were given.
Okay.
Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and stood still, but the beating grew. Louder. I thought the heart must burst, and now the anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw upon the lantern and leaped into the room. He shrieked once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him.
Thank you.
Very good. Willie Rushton.
Pass.
Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Pass.
Chewy.
Well, crunchy actually, but thank you for asking. Next.
Next is Goofy.
I'll then
Talk about
smile.
take the tension out.
Really. I then smiled gaily to find the deed done so far done. But for many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my head upon the heart and held it there for many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more.
That's good.
Thank you.
Next one is not that page. Next one is Mr. Smee.
If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence.
He's talking about murdering Captain Hook here.
First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and the legs.
Good God.
Really? Next.
Next is... Oh, man.
Who is it?
Cool Cat.
Yes, Cool Cat.
I'd rather listen to Goofy.
Now think about this. We just had a story about someone killing someone, and now he has to dismember the corpse. Did somebody talk bad about Daddy Derek's movie? Object there was none. Passion there was none. I loved the old man. I think it was his review. Yes, this it was.
Then I took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the board so cleverly, so cunningly, so that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong.
It was exquisite! There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatsoever. I have been too wary of that. A tub had caught it all.
Man,
No,
that's terrible.
it actually ends with ha ha at the end of the sentence, so that was perfect. Thank you. Don't pretend you don't love it.
I am choosing something that was suggested much later, but I don't care because I need something in my life to get that out of my head. Let's hear your impression of Carrie Elwes being Wesley from The Princess Bride.
Much better than Bobbly Wobbly.
Yeah, well, that's coming.
Oh, I'm sure it is. When I had made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what I had now to fear. There entered 3 men who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police office, and they, the officers, had been deputed to search the premises. How's that, baby?
That'll do.
For now.
For now. Next is Scrooge McDuck.
I smiled, for what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek I said was my own. The shriek I said was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent from the country. I took the visitors all over the house. I bade them search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim.
Very good. Next is the Blue Fairy from Pinocchio.
Pass.
Dan the Gingerbread Man.
Very appropriate for Halloween. Ugh.
The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularly at ease. They sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of many things, like taking just a teeny-weeny little bite.
Really?
But ere long, I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. But still, they sat, and I still chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definiteness, until at length I found that the noise was not within my ears. That's it.
Yeah.
Ugh. I love you, Tim Burton, but what were you thinking?
We have another sponsored post.
Yes.
Ed Wynn doing the Mad Hatter.
No doubt, I now grew very pale indeed. But I talked more fluently, and with a heightened voice, yet the sound increased. What could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much like a sound that a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily continued. I rose and argued about trifles, in a high key and with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. Why would it not be gone? Next!
Next is a sponsored post. Jiminy Cricket.
I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, and as if and to fury by the observations of the men, but the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. You buttered your bread, now sleep in it! I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting, and I grated upon the boards, but the noise arose over all that continually increased. It grew louder and louder and louder! 2 voices left for this story.
Next is was it another sponsored post, or was that the last one? Ah!
Uh-oh.
Yes, that was the last one. Okay. So now back to the list. Gordon Ramsay.
And still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God, no, no. They heard. They suspected. They knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think. But anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision, you donkey. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt I must scream or die. And now, again, hark, louder, louder, louder. Next.
Next is
Final voice for the story.
the scientist from the Dark Crystal.
Villains! I shrieked! December no more! I admit the deed! Tear up the planks! Here! Here! It is the beating of his hideous heart!
Very good. We have another sponsored post. Hurry up and pick a new story.
I was going to say, quite a punchline on that one, huh? It's like, okay then.
I just completely missed my mouth. It's a good thing that I'm only drinking sparkling water.
Uh-oh, someone's got a drinking problem. Splash.
I do. Could not find my mouth at all.
Oh dear. I'll find it for you.
Oh, stop.
You're welcome. Let's see. Page 269. We are now delving into Penny Dreadfuls, where we are reading one of my personal favorites, The Diary of a Madman. Very close to home.
Sponsored post. Super Mario.
Diary of a Madman, of course.
That's why I was laughing.
He was dead, the head of a high tribunal, the upright magistrate, whose irreproachable life was a proverb in all the courts of France. Advocates, young councillors, judges had greeted him at sight of his large, thin, pale face, lighted up by 2 sparkling, deep-set eyes, bowing low in token of respect. He had passed in his life in pursuing crime and in protecting the weak, and stomping on the Goombas. Swindlers and murderers and coopers had no more returnable enemy, for he seemed to read the most secret thoughts in their minds. Woohoo! Next. Thank you.
Another. Oh, darn it.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah, there's a sponsored post. It's for Scooby-Doo, and I don't think you do Scooby.
I could give it a go.
Okay. You don't want her to pick a different one?
No, it's good. I can do him.
Okay. Scooby-Doo!
He was dead now, at the age of 82, honored by the homage and followed by the regrets of a whole people. Soldiers in red trousers had escorted him to the tomb, where men in white cravats had spoken words and shed tears, and seemed to be sincere beside his grave.
That's really good. I don't know why you haven't been doing Scooby-Doo. You do a fine Scooby, dear.
Have I been asked to do Scooby before and I'm just not remembering?
I was one of the ones that I remember you passing on. That's all I can tell you.
Well, okay. Now we can do Scooby.
Scooby, yeah. You already did that horror show. Oh no, you haven't done that one. Damn it!
Uh-oh. Who's it?
I thought you'd done it, but you did. You did Cool Cat.
Oh no. It's him. But here is a strange paper found by the dismayed notary in the desk where he kept the records of great criminals. It was entitled, Why? June 20th of June, 1851. I had just left court. I had condemned Blundell to death. Now, why did this man kill his 5 children? Frequently, one meets with people to whom the destruction of life is a pleasure. Yes, it should be a pleasure. The greatest of all, perhaps, for is not killing the next greatest thing to creating? To make and to destroy. These 2 words contain the history of the universe. All the history of worlds. All that is all. Why is it not almost done? Why is it not intoxicating to kill? Now I'm done.
I am too. I quit.
Oh, don't quit, baby. Please don't be done. I love you.
Prove it.
Are you not the Sally to my Jack?
Ugh. I'm sorry, all I can hear is that voice.
My dearest friend, if you don't mind, I'd like to join you by your side, where we can gaze into the stars. How's that?
That's better.
Of course it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, good night, guys.
She's done, but for different reasons now.
Got stuff to do, gotta go.
Happy Halloween to me.
Okay.
Trick or treat?
Hades
I'll take
from
both.
Descendants.
Oh boy.
Hey, he was one of my favorites. His character arc didn't make sense, but he was one of my favorites.
Not at all. If nothing else, he did have that nice country twang to him.
Diane Jackson.
Actually, forget his voice. I'm sorry.
Oh. Darn it! Vector from Despicable Me 3.
Pass.
Miss Piggy.
25th June. To think that a being is there who lives, who walks, who runs. A being? What is a being? That animated thing that bears in it the principle of motion and a will ruling that motion. It is attached to nothing, this thing. Its feet do not belong to the ground. It is a grain of life that moves on the earth. And this grain of life, coming I know not whence, one can destroy at one's will. Then nothing more. It perishes. It is finished.
Next.
Darth Vader.
26th June. Why then is it a crime to kill? Yes, why? On the contrary, it is the law of nature. The mission of every being is to kill. He kills to live, and he kills to kill. The beast kills without ceasing, all day, every instant of his existence. Man kills without ceasing, to nourish himself. But since he needs, besides, to kill for pleasure, he has invented hunting. The child kills the insects he finds, the little birds, all the little animals that come in his way. Wow, thank you, Anakin Skywalker.
I killed them, but not just the men, the women, and the children too. They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them!
I'm sorry, Hayden Christensen. Yes?
B-Dog from Air Buddies.
I hate you so very, very much. Where was I? Oh, yes.
Yo, but this does not suffice for the irresistible need to massacre that is in us. It is not enough to kill beasts. We must kill man too, dog. Long ago, this need was satisfied by human sacrifices, yo. Now the requirements of social life had made murder a crime.
That's what he talks like.
We condemn and punish the assassin, but as we cannot live without you...
So street.
Really?
But as we cannot live without yielding to his natural and imperious instinct of death, we relieve ourselves from time to time by wars. Then a whole nation slaughters another nation. It is a feast of blood, a feast that maddens armies, and that intoxicates civilians, women, and children who read, by lamplight at night, the feverish story of massacre, dog.
Oh my god.
I can't make B-Dog sound profound in any way at all. and that's what that whole stanza was. Just the very logical and very natural way of killing things. It's just how we are. It's in our blood.
Horrible.
And we crave it.
Okay. We have another sponsored post with some choices. First choice, Bowser.
Pass.
Second choice, Dr. Neocortex.
One might suppose that those destined to accomplish these butcheries of men would be despised. No, they are loaded with honors. They are clad in gold and in resplendent garments. They wear plumes on their heads and ornaments on their breasts, and they are given crosses, rewards, titles of every kind. They are proud, respected, loved by women, cheered by the crowd, solely because their mission is to shed human blood. They drag through the streets their instruments of death, that the passers-by, clad in black, look on with envy. For to kill is the great law set by nature in the heart of existence. There is nothing more beautiful and honorable than killing. God, where's my thunder guy? Come on!
And here's another sponsored post just for you, dear.
Oh, yes?
Brent.
Brent the murderer. There you go.
30th,
Sound creepy.
30th June. To kill is the law, because nature loves eternal youth. She seems
Like Phalus.
She seems to cry in all her unconscious acts. Quick, quick! The more she destroys, the more she renews herself. Kill the birds! Tweet, tweet, tweet!
Wow.
Ugh.
I have to pee.
Should have gone before the stream. Don Rickles.
2nd July. A human being. What is a human being? Through thought, it is a reflection of all that is. Through memory and science, it is an abridged edition of the universe whose history it represents. A mirror of things and of nations, and of each being it becomes a microcosm in the macrocosm. 3rd July. It must be a pleasure, unique and full of zest, to kill. To have there before one the living, thinking being, to make therein a little hole, nothing but a little hole, to see that red thing flow which is, the blood, which makes life, and to have before one only a heap of limp flesh, cold, inert, void of thought. I was doing my best Mr. Potato Head while reading that, and that is creepy as hell.
We have another sponsored post from Gabe, this time for $15. And there's several in there. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your first one is Jim Carrey's The Grinch.
5th August. I who have passed my life in judging, condemning, killing by the spoken word, killing by the guillotine, those who had killed by the knife. If I should have done all the assassins have done whom I have smitten, who would know it? Next.
By the way, Gabe is sharing his birthday money with you, so wish Gabe happy birthday.
That's right. I meant to wish him a happy birthday all day, but I did not because I am terrible. I am sorry, Gabe. Everyone...
He has no memory. If he had mentioned it to me, I would have reminded him.
Thank you. That is probably very true.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Sing along with me, people. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear King Gabe. Happy birthday to you. Ah.
Bravo.
And this is me jumping out of the cake. Happy birthday!
And here is his birthday gift to me, apparently. The next voice he would like is Captain Jack Sparrow.
There we go. 10th August. Who would ever know? Who would ever suspect me? Me! Especially if I should choose a being that I had no interest in doing away with. 15th August. The temptation has come. It pervades my whole being. My hands tremble with the desire to kill. Savvy? 22nd August. I could resist no longer. I killed a little creature as an experiment for a beginning. Jean, my servant, had a goldfinch in a cage hung in the office window. I sent him on an errand, and I took the little bird in my hand. And in my hand, where I felt his heartbeat, it was warm. I went up to my room. From time to time, I squeezed it tighter. Its heart beat faster. This was atrocious and delicious. I was near choking it, but I could not see the blood.
Very good. Very good. 2 more from King Gabe's sponsored posts. The next one being The Joker, Jack Nicholson version.
Then I took scissors, short nail scissors, and I cut its throat with 3 little slits, quite gently. I opened its bill. It struggled to escape me, but I held it. Oh, I held it. I could have held a mad dog, and I saw the blood trickle.
Very good.
And the final voice from this post?
Robin Williams, the genie.
Oh, Jesus. And then I did as assassins do, real ones. I washed the scissors, I washed my hands, I sprinkled water, and took the blood, and took the body, the corpse, to the garden to hide it. I buried it under a strawberry plant. It will never be found. Every day I shall eat a strawberry from that plant. How one can enjoy life when one knows how. That was awful, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Williams. I suck.
No, you don't.
Only he can do Robin Williams.
Well, that's kind of true.
But I
Peter
tried.
Griffin. Oh, no, wait. Pause that. We have another sponsored post.
Uh-oh.
Hannibal Lecter.
Good choice for this. My servant cried. He thought his bird flown. How could he suspect me? 25th August. I must kill a man. I must. 30th August. It is done. But what a little thing. I had gone for a walk in the forest of Vern. I was thinking of nothing, literally nothing. A child was in the road. A little child eating a slice of bread and butter with a nice Chianti.
Very good. And next on the list is Optimus Prime. No, Peter Griffin. Then Optimus Prime.
Yes.
He stops to see me pass and says, "Good day, Mr. President." And the thought enters my head. Shall I kill him? I answer, "You're alone, my boy?" "Yes, sir." "All alone in the wood?" "Yes, sir."
That's awful.
Yeah.
Now Optimus.
All the more awful when you consider how there was a There was an episode in recent years where Peter was trying to marry his son, Chris. Yeah. The wish to kill him intoxicated me like wine. I approached him quite softly, persuaded that he was going to run away. And suddenly, I seized him by the throat. Oh, he's talking about Shia LaBeouf. He looked at me with terror in his eyes. Such eyes. He held my wrists in his little hands, and his body writhed like a feather over the fire. Then he moved no more. I threw the body in the ditch, and had some weeds on top of it. I returned home and dined well. What a little thing it was. In the evening I was very gay, light, rejuvenated. I passed the evening at the prefect's. They found me witty, but I had not seen the blood. I am tranquil. Next.
Ren and Stimpy.
31st August. The body had just been discovered. They're hunting for the assassin. 1st September. 2 tramps have been arrested. Proofs are lacking. 2nd September. The parents have been to see me. They wept. 6 October, you idiot. Nothing has been discovered. Some strolling vagabond must have done the deed. If I had seen the blood flow, it seems to me that I should be tranquil now. The desire to kill is in my blood. It is like the passion of a youth at 20.
That was bad. Next.
Oh, next. Don't mind me. Correction, Imogen. Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin.
Had to be that, Mr. Freeze.
They were very specific.
Yes.
20th October. Yet another. I was walking by the river after breakfast, and I saw under a willow a fisherman sleep. It was noon. A spade was standing in a potato field nearby, as if expressly to me. Freeze, chill! I took it. I returned. I raised like a club. And with one blow of the edge, I cleft the fisherman's head. Oh, he bled, this one. Rose-colored blood. It flowed into the water quite gently. I went with a grave step. If I had been seen, I should have made an excellent assassin. The Freeze been hell, Batman.
Very good.
Next.
Droopy.
25th October. The affair of the fisherman makes a great stir. His nephew, who fished with him, is charged with the murder. 26th October. The examining magistrate affirms that the nephew is guilty. Everybody in town believes it, and that makes me very mad.
Next.
Next is... I got a clip. I won't be having to flip next time. Lucas the Spider.
Oh, dear.
Always a good choice.
Oh, yes.
27th October. The nephew makes a very poor witness. He had gone to the village to buy bread and cheese, he declared. He swore that his uncle had been killed in his absence. Who will believe him? 28th October. The nephew was all but confessed. They have badgered him so. Justice. 15th November. There are overwhelming proofs against the nephew, who was his uncle's heir. I shall preside at the sessions.
Next.
Forgot that I was muted, so I could chew. The sea lion from Tappy Toes.
Ugh.
25th January! To death! To death! To death! I have had him condemned to death! The Advocate General spoke like an angel! Yet another! I shall go to see him executed! 10th March! It is done! They guillotined him this morning! He died very well! Very well! That gave me pleasure! How fine it is to see a man's head cut off! Lucky marbles! Now I shall wait! I can wait! I would take such a little thing to let myself be caught!
That was horrible.
And the final voice for this story?
Skeletor.
Yeah, the manuscript contained yet other pages, but without relating any new crime. Alienist physicians to whom the awful story has been submitted declare that there are in the world many undiscovered madmen as adroit and as much to be feared as this monstrous lunatic.
Very good.
Thank you. Let's see. How are we on time?
How are we on time? It
Yes.
is almost 7.
Almost 7. Let's see.
But we've only done one today.
Hmm?
We're only doing one. So this one should be longer than the others.
Aha! Good point. Good
We
point.
didn't do two episodes today.
That makes sense. Let's see. What's another good one here?
Oh, ouch.
What?
Is Skeletor Jack Skellington's loser cousin?
Maybe. Here's one. The Buried Alive. Let's see what that's all about, shall we?
Yes.
Page 358. It's really coming down out there, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Well, just laughing at the scenery here that I got going on. I'm funny. Ooh,
Yeah, it never rains in California.
it rains. Shut up. Speaking of, I gotta check something real quick here. What do we got? Just need to check something here, and then that's on loop. Okay, good. Don't want to have my background suddenly going blank on us here. Ah! I'm in the void! Okay. Buried Alive by John Galt. Starting with what voice?
Oh, Unikitty.
Of course. I have been for some time ill of a low and lingering fever. Hi! My strength gradually wasted, but the sense of life seemed to become more and more acute as my corporeal powers became weaker. I could see by the looks of the doctors that he had despaired of my recovery, and the soft and whispering sorrow of my friends taught me that I had nothing to hope. Next.
Nice. Raven McBain sponsored a post, but she did not put a voice suggestion.
Uh-oh.
So when you are ready, Raven, give me a voice suggestion.
Yes.
In the meantime, Thumper from Bambi.
Just want to hear me do little kids in the stream, don't you? Pardon me, just a moment. Gonna wet my whistle here real quick. Okay. Thumper, thumper.
This is gonna be adorable.
One day, towards the evening, the crisis took place. I was seized with a strange and indescribable quivering. A rushing sound was in my ears. I saw around my couch innumerable strange faces.
Yes.
They were
Sorry.
bright and...
I just got Raven McBain's suggestion, and I'm very happy about it.
Aha!
They were bright and visionary and without bodies. There was light and solemnity, and I tried to move, but could not.
Next.
Johnny Depp's wolf from the Wolf from Into the Woods.
I'm sorry, I only saw that movie once, and I don't remember what he sounded like in that.
Oh. I am shocked and appalled.
I am sorry.
That was such a good one.
I'm sorry, the wolf was my least favorite thing about that movie. Which sucked, because ever since seeing him do Sweeney Todd, he was who I always envisioned doing the wolf. But then they did it, and it's like, oh.
They made it really creepy.
No, he's supposed to be creepy. He's supposed to be an allegory for sexual predators. That's who he is, but you don't do it literally. And you didn't make him a wolf. He looks like a rat thing. Ew.
Okay, moving on.
Sorry.
Raven, give us another voice suggestion.
Save it for the review.
Wabu?
Pass. Since singing Johnny Depp is on the table, should I just do Sweeney Todd?
No, unless that's what Raven wants, because this Raven wants to save that for when the next thing comes up.
The next thing? Is it quickly coming?
I'm sure. We've had Cool Cat, Bobcat Goldthwait,
Daddy Derek,
Herman, Daddy Derek,
and Gilbert Gottfried singing.
There is but one more, and it's on the list.
Oh yes.
Ugh. Freddy Krueger.
For a short time, a terrible confusion overwhelmed me, bitch! And when it passed off, all my recollection returned with the most perfect distinctness. But the power of motion had departed. I heard the sound of weeping at my pillow, and the voice of the nurse say, "He is dead!" I cannot describe what I felt at these words. I exerted my utmost power of volition to stir myself, but I could not move even an eyelid. After a short pause, my friend drew near, and, sobbing and convulsed with grief, drew his hand over my face and closed my eyes. The world was then darkened, but I could still hear and feel and suffer.
Raven would like you to do a Dalek.
Of course.
not as sexy as Johnny Depp in the Into the Woods, but
I'm sorry.
Oh well.
When my eyes were closed, I heard by the attendants that my friend had left the room, and I soon after found the undertakers were preparing to habit me in the garments of the grave. Their thoughtlessness was more awful than the grief of my friends. They laughed at one another, and they turned me from side to side, and treated that what they had believed a corpse with the most appalling ribaldry!
Once again, you have killed everyone using earphones.
How? Is this worse somehow?
You were doing it kind of loud.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Next is Kay doing Megatron. I don't remember the first name.
David K. Megatron. Yes.
That's it.
When they had laid me out, these wretches retired, and the degrading formality of affected mourning commenced. For 3 days a number of friends called to see me. I heard them, in low accents, speak of what I was, and more than one touched me with his finger. Ew. On the 3rd day, some of them talked of the smell.
What?
I don't have true love's consent. I'm sorry. It just popped into my head.
I can't kiss her. She hasn't given me true love's consent.
You should not touch you. I touched them with my finger. Ooh. I don't know why I thought of that. I'm sorry.
She's dead. Ew.
Well,
Yeah, okay. It's a good thing that the Disney heroes are all necrophiliacs. I'm sorry.
Might be dead. I'm first in line.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Aurora's been dead for 100 years. Have at her.
Okay.
On the third day, some of them talked of the smell of corruption in the room. The coffin was procured. I was lifted and laid in. My friend placed my head on what was deemed its last pillow, as I felt his tears drop on my face. Yes. Next.
Keith David?
When all who had any peculiar interest in me had for a short time looked at me in the coffin, I heard them retire, and the Undertaker's men placed the lid on the coffin and screwed it down. There were 2 of them present. One had occasion to go away before the task was done. I heard the fellow who was left begin to whistle as he turned the screw nails, but he checked himself and completed the work in silence. Yes, everything is very grave when read in his voice.
Someone brought up lips, Evie lips. I did not know he was going to put that at the end of the review.
I had to. Come on! You were so embarrassed by coming up with that joke. How could I not? But just look at that scene. It is seriously creepy. So not right.
Okay, next is Krusty the Clown.
I was then left alone. Everyone shunned the room. I knew, however, that I was not yet buried, and though darkened and motionless, I still had hope. But this was not permitted long. Ugh. The day of intermittent arrived. I felt the coffin lifted and borne away. I heard and felt it placed in the hearse. There was a crowd of people around. Some of them spoke sorrowfully of me. The hearse began to move, and I knew that it carried me to the grave. It halted, and the coffin was taken out. I felt myself carried on the shoulders of men by the inequality of the motion. A pause ensued. I heard the cords of the coffin moved. I felt it swing as dependent by them. It was lowered and rested at the bottom of the grave. The cords were dropped upon the lid. I heard them fall. Dreadful was the effort that I made to exert the power of action, but my whole frame was immovable. And now I've got this image of Krusty lying in his grave shouting, "Krusty wants out!"
We have a sponsored post. And
Yes.
I don't think you know it, and I think the suggestion is racist. And I'll say it anyway.
Okay.
Lin-Manuel Miranda, and if you don't know how to do that, just do a Puerto Rican Mickey Mouse.
Just do a Puerto Rican Mickey
Puerto
Mouse.
Rican Mickey Mouse. I love Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I'm happy you know who that is because I don't.
You don't even know who it is?
I don't know who it is.
Oh my god, why do I date you?
For reasons that I can't disclose on the stream right now.
That's right, okay, moving on. He wrote and then starred in Hamilton.
Okay.
He played the new Bert in the new Mary Poppins.
That went right over my head.
Oh my god. Grace, come up with another one.
Yes, please come up with another voice for the sponsored post and Puerto Rican Mickey Mouse. Is that accurate?
I think that's what I think
You-
the is racist.
You know who he is. You know what he sounds like. Does he sound like a Puerto Rican Mickey Mouse?
You know, I really don't have a clear image of what
Well,
his speaking voice sounds like.
Yeah, what would you call that, aside from an image? I don't know.
I don't know.
But,
Okay, Whizzer instead, she says.
I'm sorry?
Whizzer.
Whizzer.
What's a whizzer?
I feel like I should know what that is. Whizzer. It was a character from a review that I did recently, I think. Hang on, let me search for it.
No, don't search for it. Do a different voice and she'll explain.
No, it's okay.
Oh, you're different. Popped funny. That was weird.
What?
I said my neck just popped funny.
Oh dear, you okay?
Have you ever had your neck? It doesn't pop. It kind of slides. One of the Wheelers. Oh no, that's not Grace. Never mind. Whizzer is from Swan Princess 3. Oh, the Great Whizzar?
No. Whizzer. Yes. Just as I was searching for it, the script for Swan Princess 2 and 3 came up. Whizzer. Now it's coming back to me. Whizzer was the bird of many voices.
Yes.
He sounded like he came from Alabama for some reason. Because, that's what creatures from Europe sound like. And somehow it could imitate any voice even if it never heard it before. I.e. Rothbart, who was dead. How could he do Rothbart? But, let's see. He had a very exaggerated southern drawl to him. Let me see what I can remember from that.
Soon after, a few handfuls of earth were thrown upon the coffin. Then there was another pause, after which the shovel was employed, and the sound of the rattling mold as it covered me was far more tremendous than thunder. But I could make no effort. The sound gradually became less and less, and by a surging reverberation in the coffin, I knew that the grave was filled up, and that the sexton was treading on the earth, slapping the grave with the flat of his spade. This too ceased, and then all was silent. 'Cause I'm a bird.
What?
Grace, do not apologize. If I had really thought that was racist, I wouldn't have said it. I was only kidding about that. He is very proud of being Puerto Rican, and I know that he doesn't have the manliest of man voices. So Puerto Rican Mickey Mouse was probably quite accurate.
No.
I don't even think Lin-Manuel would be upset about that. No, don't worry. No need to apologize. If it had really been racist, if I had really thought it was racist, I would not have said that.
Yes, and speaking of racist voices, on to a poo to Hasibiba Petalon!
No.
Oh, come on!
The next suggestion is Tusky from We Sing.
He is a staple of pop culture, and I'm disgusted that they took him away. But Tusky, okay.
I had no means of knowing the lapse in time, and the silence continued. This is death, thought I, and I am doomed to remain on the earth till the resurrection. Presently, the body will fall into corruption, and the Epicurean worm, that is only satisfied with the flesh of man, will come to partake on the banquet that has been prepared for him with so much solicitude and care. Ew!
God. It's awful.
Yeah, sorry, Tusky, but no special little note bandage for you. You're dead!
Okay, Avdol from JoJo.
Pass.
Gurgle from the Black Cauldron.
Gurgi from the Black Cauldron.
Sorry. Can't read my own handwriting.
In the contemplation of this hideous thought, Googie heard a low and undersound in the earth over Googie, and Googie fancied that the worms and the reptiles of death were coming. As the mole and the rat of the grave would soon be upon Googie. The sound continued to grow louder and nearer. Can it be possible, Googie thought, that Googie's friends suspect they have buried Googie too soon? The hope was truly like light bursting through the gloom of death.
That's terrible. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Darwin has many friends. Googie has
Another
no
sponsored
friends.
post from Tom Jackson.
Hello, Tom.
Another one from him. Warwick Davis is the leprechaun.
I'm sorry, pass.
Oh, gotta get a different one. Okay, next is Pepe Le Pew.
The sound ceased, and presently I felt the hands of some dreadful being working about my throat. They dragged me down out of the coffin by the head. I felt again the living air, but it was piercingly cold, and I was carried away. I sought to judgment, perhaps perdition. Mais oui.
Sabrina says you do a great Gurgi.
Thank you.
And Anthony says it sounds like a Gollum and Jar Jar hybrid.
Gurgi is not the most beloved creature in that movie, I fear.
Alright, next is... oh wait, did we have Tom's answer?
Ooh, yes.
Not yet.
Go.
So, do the White Rabbit from 1951 Disney animated Alice in Wonderland.
When borne to some distance, I was then thrown down like a clod. It was not upon the ground. A moment after, I found myself on a carriage, and by the interchange of 2 or 3 brief sentences, I discovered that I was in the hands of 2 of those robbers who live by plundering graves and selling the bodies of parents and children and friends. One of them snatches it and scraps of unseen songs, and the cart rattled over the pavement of the streets. Oh dear.
Okay.
So,
Resubmission.
I'm sorry. Let's just stop and think about this. The narrator somehow died, but is conscious enough to relay the story to us, and he steps us through the process of being buried, mourned, interned, and now grave robbed. Holy crap! Sorry. Next voice.
Okay, resubmission from Tom.
Yes.
City sushi owner from South Park.
Speaking of racist voices.
Oh, I knew it.
Oh wait, sushi. Okay, sorry. I almost did Liu Kim, which would have been very bad. Actually, here's a question: which is more racist? The white team of Parker and Stone doing a Japanese voice for what is supposed to be a legitimately Japanese character, or the white Parker and Stone doing a Chinese accent for a white guy who thinks that he's a Chinese person, but is not. Mind blow. Anyway, sushi restaurant order. Let's see, where was I?
When it halted, I was lifted out, and I soon perceived by the closeness of the air and by the change of temperature that I was carried into a room, and being rudely stripped of my shroud and placed naked on the table. By the conversation of the 2 pharaohs with the servant who admitted them, I learned that I was that night to be dissected.
Hey, did you know that China and Japan are 2 totally different countries?
Oh, really?
Oh my god.
Next.
Dobby?
Pass.
I don't know why I date him, guys.
I
don't
know.
know why a non-Harry Potter fan ever caught my eye. The doorknob from 1951 Alice in Wonderland.
You date me because I'm of French descent, and all that implies.
Just read.
I love how you can't even you can't even deny that. Like, I do not.
Read.
You're welcome, ladies. My eyes were still shut. I saw nothing, but in a short time I heard by the bustle in the room that the students of anatomy were assembling. Some of them came around the table and examined me minutely. They were pleased to find that so good a subject had been procured. The demonstrator himself at last came in. So now we got a whole bunch of med school students wandering at my naked, dead body. Thank you!
Marvin from Marvin the milkshake guy from Oogie Loves.
Oh God. Milky Marvin.
Milky Marvin, that's it.
Okay, fine. He runs a milkshake shop. Nothing wrong with that. Don't call him Milky! Now, Dolly Parton maybe, but no. Anyway! And pee. Oh my god, she actually gets to go, doesn't she?
No! I'm trying to breathe.
Yes! I made her die laughing.
Previous to beginning the dissection, he proposed to try on me some galvanic experiment. Oh! An apparatus was arranged for that purpose. The first shock vibrated through all my nerves. Oh! They rung and jangled like the strings of a harp. The students expressed their admiration at the convulsive effect.
Great, so now they're shocking this dead body just to see what happens.
Ugh.
Next.
Green Goblin.
The second shock threw my eyes open, and the first person I saw was the doctor who attended me. But still I was dead. I could, however, discover among the students the faces of many with whom I was familiar. And when my eyes were opened, I heard my name pronounced by several of the students, with an accent of awe and compassion, and a wish that it had been some other subject. And the final voice for this story?
Bruce Campbell.
Pass.
Pass on Bruce Campbell. Okay.
Sorry.
Crosshairs from Transformers.
Oh, this is embarrassing. I don't remember Crosshairs.
Oops. You call yourself a fan.
Sorry.
Gollum. Gollum.
When they had satisfied themselves with the galvanic phenomena, the demonstrators took the knives and pierced me on the bosom with the points. We felt a dreadful cackling, as it were, through my whole frame. A convulsive shuddering instantly followed, and a shriek of horror rose from all present. The ice of death was broken upon my transcended. The utmost exertions were made to restore me, and in the course of an hour, we were in full possession of all my faculties.
So just to recap, something happens to this poor bastard that makes him look dead by all accounts. But he's still conscious, and he's able to observe his own burial, his grave robbing, all these people studying his allegedly dead body, some of whom know him personally, and then when they start to perform an autopsy after getting shocked a bunch of times, only then can he finally scream, "Ah!" And then they try to revive him, and it takes an hour to do so. Oh my god!
That's creepy.
There is no exploitation quite like Victorian exploitation. There were some morbid bastards back then. Alright, that was the end of that story. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see here. How about Sonny Bean, the Man-Eater?
That sounds good.
It is. Page 185. Na, 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 na. And I'm not sure why this collection of Penny Dreadfuls has Frankenstein on it, but good to have it. Let's see, 185, 185. Oh, sorry, I gotta show this off here. The spelling of this story by Richard Thompson, The Werewolf, is very interesting. Fans of MST3K are gonna get a laugh at this. It looks like The Werewolf. Do you mean to tell me that this thing is the werewolf? No, werewolf, where? Say it. Okay, anyway.
We have a sponsored post for something that was coming up on the list.
Oh, yes?
Yes. So we will move it up to this time, and the sponsored post is for the Chamberlain from Dark Crystal. Always a good one.
Our next narrative presents such a picture of human barbarity that, were it not attested by the most unquestionable historical evidence, it would be rejected as altogether fabulous and incredible. It is that of Sonny Bean.
Perfect little intro for that story.
Oh, that's so good.
Next.
Oogie Boogie.
This man was born in East Lothian, about 8 miles east of Edinburgh, in the reign of James I of Scotland. His father was a hedger and a ditcher, and brought up his son to the same laborious employment. Naturally idle and vicious, he abandoned that place in company with a young man equally idle and profligate, and retired to the deserts of Galloway, where they took up the habitation by the seaside. Next.
G1 Megatron.
The place which they selected for their dwelling was a cave of about 1 mile in length and of considerable breadth, so near the sea that the tide often penetrated into the cave above 200 yards. The entry had many intricate windings and turnings, leading to the extremity of the subterraneous dwelling, which was literally the habitation of horrid cruelty.
Very good.
Thank you. Excuse me. The pipes, they're blowing. Next.
Next is Keaton. You forgot to give me a name on your sponsored post.
Uh-oh.
I'll be looking out for you. The next is Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. You're one of your new favorites.
Yeah. Indeed. In this cave, they commenced their depredations. Can't read. And to prevent the possibility of detection, they murdered every person they robbed, destitute of the means of obtaining any other food. They resolved to live upon human flesh, and accordingly, when they had murdered any man, woman, or child, they carried them to their den, quartered them, salted the limbs, and dried them for food. In the manner they lived, carrying on their depredations and murder until they had 8 sons and 6 daughters, 18 grandsons, 14 granddaughters, all the offspring of incest.
That is so good. It's so creepy.
Is it
You
just
there?
me? Or is it getting crazier out there? Okay, next.
Okay, that was good.
So hang on. 8 sons, 6 daughters, 14, 18 grandsons. Oh, sorry, we got 14, 28, plus 18, 42. 42, all the offspring of incest. Not sure what that last line means if they're all dead, but holy crap!
Ugh. Okay, the sponsored post is for either, and I don't think you're going to know the first one, but you might. Scotsman from Samurai Jack.
Pass, sorry.
Okay. Or Fat Bastard from Austin Powers.
But though they soon became numerous, yet such was the multitude which fell into their hands, that they had often superabundance of provisions, and would at a distance from their own habitation throw legs and arms of dried human bodies into the sea by night. Of course, you guys had to pick Fat Bastard as a voice for this story about cannibalism. Come here, I'm gonna eat ya! I'm bigger than you! I'm higher in the food chain! Get in my belly! Come on!
God.
These were often cast out by the tide and taken out by the country people, to the great dismay of all the surrounding inhabitants. Nor could anyone discover what had befallen the many friends, relations, and neighbors who had unfortunately fallen into the hands of these merciless cannibals. You're lucky, wee man! Ah!
Oh.
You get your mojo, you keep your money. And I'll get your baby.
King Gabe says, Bob Show, don't scare me like that. I thought you died after doing Arthur.
Yes! I am the greatest!
He gets somebody every time. Because I was the first person that he got.
And you weren't the last.
I have to tell the story real quick.
Yes, you
The
do.
very first
Because we have new
time
people in
he
channel.
did Joaquin Phoenix's Joker impression, I was writing down names, and I was, throwing them at him, but I wasn't really paying close attention, and I forgot what name I had just given him. So I thought, I was sitting there writing down names after he'd already started, and I'm going, what is so funny? What is he laughing? I'm not paying attention to what he's reading, but it doesn't sound that funny. Oh my God, what is wrong with him? In the next stream, and then there were still people that thought there was something wrong with him while he was in the midst of doing the Arthur Fleck impression. He gets somebody every time.
Yes!
Okay.
Oh, you do not, you liar!
I do not. I do not. Oh, I hate this.
Hate what?
Oh.
What do you hate?
Did I miss a sponsored post? No, I got the last sponsored post. Oh.
Yes.
Do my Tusky impression. Oh. The only other one in the stupid list, I just got to it. It's terrible. No. We hear enough about him. Enough from him now.
But baby, don't you want to make Bob Show great again?
Oh, damn it! No.
You don't?
Do it.
You don't love me?
Not when you're doing this voice. Just do it and get over with.
In proportion as Sonny's family increased,
It's written down as family. Ew.
everyone that was able acted his part in these horrid assassinations. They would sometimes attack 4 or 6 men on foot, but never more than 2 upon horseback. To prevent the possibility of escape, they would lie in ambush in every direction, so that if they escaped the attack of the first, they might be assailed with the renewed fury by second party, and inevitably murdered.
Please be over.
By this means, they were always secured by their prey, and prevention detected. At last, however, the vast number who were slain raised the inhabitants of the country, which was made great, and all the woods and lurking places were carefully searched. Yet, though they often passed by the mouth of the horrible den... I'm not done.
You're done.
I'm still reading.
You're done.
I'm not done. I'm still reading my part here. It was never once suspected that any human being resided there. Now I'm done.
I love,
I'm dying. No, don't love me now.
I love you,
No.
baby.
No.
Raven.
I can't even think of one you haven't done that I want to hear.
I know one that you haven't heard yet,
What?
and you like it.
What? Keep in mind the great lag on between Skype where I'm hearing you and YouTube when I'm watching you.
Yes, of course, I understand. In this state of uncertainty, a suspense concerning the authors of such frequent massacres, several innocent travelers and innkeepers were taken upon suspicion, because the persons who were missing had been seen last in their company, or had last resided in their houses. The effect of this well-meant and severe justice constrained the greater part of the innkeepers in those parts to abandon and such employments, to the great inconvenience of those who travelled through that district.
That's much better.
Was I wrong?
You weren't wrong.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's never speak of the other one again.
Yes,
I think
of course.
we have a first-time request.
What is that?
William Shatner's Puss in Boots. Requested by someone who just, I think, made their first ever request on one of your streams.
Ah, very nice.
If not, we were going to do it anyway. I'm just moving it up a little bit.
I was going to say, that's not a new request, that's an old one, but, from someone who never requested before? Very good. Welcome to the chat. By the way, how many people do we have in now?
Right now we have 56, but it was as high as 78
Yes.
that I
yes.
noticed.
Very good. And I suppose it is a little bit late for some people. They all got to be getting to bed.
Yes.
Let's see. Shatner's Puss in Boots.
Meanwhile, the country became depopulated, and the whole nation was at a loss to account for the numerous and unheard of villainies and cruelties that were perpetuated without the slightest clue to the discovery of the abominable actors. At length, the horrible scene was terminated in the following manner. And one evening, a man and a wife were riding home upon the same horse from a fair which had been held in the neighborhood, and being attacked, the husband made a most vigorous resistance. His wife, however, was dragged from behind him and carried to a little distance, and her entrails instantly taken out.
Yummy.
Wow.
Yeah. Next.
Next is ba-dum. I've lost my place on the list.
Oh no.
Shaggy.
Like struck with horror from the husband, redoubled his efforts to escape, and even trod some of the assassins down under his horse's feet. Unfortunately for him, and the inhabitants of that part of the country, in the meantime, 20 or 30 in a company came riding home from the fair. But upon their approach, Sonny and his bloody crew fled into a thick wood and hastened into their infernal den. Zoink Scoob!
Very good.
I'm sorry, we're not supposed to speak of Scoob, are we?
No. That was a Casey Kasem thing. That's okay. Casey Kasem is the original, therefore he is acceptable. He's just not my favorite.
No, I mean, I mentioned Scoob. We're not supposed to speak of Scoob. Are we?
I don't know what that means then.
Scoob is the name of the new Scooby movie, of which you were totally repulsed, you may recall.
That's the name of it? I blocked it out. All I know is that Casey Kasem's Shaggy called Scooby-Doo Scoob a lot.
Oh, yes, of course, Scoob is the common nickname
That's what I thought you were referring to.
No. I was referring to Scoob the movie, which is apparently hashtag not your Shaggy.
Exactly. Matthew Lillard or go home. Thank you.
Oh. Okay, my turn. Why do I date you?
Hey.
Yes.
We could list the reasons, but that would not be family friendly.
They would not know.
Okay. Next is, are you ready? Well, I'm just going to take some executive privilege here. I don't think you can do this one, so we're just going to get out of the way. David Tennant?
Sorry.
Pity. Because he might not be my doctor, but he is definitely a doctor.
And my baby likes playing doctor.
He is probably my now third favorite doctor.
And we all know your absolute favorite is the old guy.
Yeah, Capaldi really does.
Capaldi, thank you.
Christopher Eccleston, because he was my original doctor. I love Eccleston. My second favorite used to be David Tennant, but now David Tennant has moved down a notch. For Jodie frickin' Whittaker is the best doctor ever. She is neck and neck with Eccleston in my book. The only reason I still have Ed Eccleston up there above Jodie Whittaker, well, I mean, like I said, they're neck and neck. It's really tied for first.
Yeah.
Is because he was my original.
Yes. Everybody has their doctor. Just like how Jonah is your doctor.
Yes. We've referred to when you have hosts like the different hosts from MST3K that like you have different doctors. So who is your doctor of MST3K? Well, for me, it was the original one. It was Jonah. And I've watched some of the older stuff, and I like Joel, and I like
Mike.
Mike.
But they weren't quite your thing.
I like Joel. Mike's okay, but Jonah was the one that got me into MST3K. Well, no, Rob is the one that got me into MST3K.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so
man,
we have another sponsor post.
That first episode, that was something, huh?
Oh my god, every country has a monster will be forever stuck in my head, and I love it.
Every country has a monster they're afraid of in their nation. Every monster has a country, yeah, station they call their own.
Awesome. Love it.
Sorry, next.
Okay, next is, it's a sponsor post.
Sponsor post, that's right.
Yes, you've already done Captain Barbossa.
I have.
And you've already done Sean Connery, so you have to do the other choice.
Uh-oh.
The second choice.
I have to.
Billy Connolly.
This man, who was the first that had ever escaped out of their hands, related to his neighbours what had happened, and showed them the mangled body of his wife lying at a distance, the bloodthirsty wretches not having time to carry it along with them. They were all struck with astonishment and horror, took with them to Glasgow, and repeated the whole adventure to the chief magistrate of the city, who upon this information instantly wrote to the king, informing him of the matter. In a few days, His Majesty in person, accompanied by 400 men, went in to quest the perpetrators of these horrid cruelties. The man whose wife had been murdered before his eyes went as their guide, with a great number of bloodhounds, that no possible means might be left unattempted to discover the haunt of such execrable villains. Next.
Give me a Scottish or an Irish accent and I'm a happy girl.
You're welcome, lass.
Oh god.
Do you need a
This
minute?
is quite the whiplash.
Oh,
Eric
no.
Kurtman.
They searched the woods and traversed and examined the seashore, but as they passed by the entrance into the cave, some of the bloodhounds into it, and raising an uncommon barking noise, gave indication that they were about to seize their prey. They said, "Aye! Ypres, you better come out, or I'm gonna kick you in the nuts!
Next.
Hang on. I'm chewing. I am chewing. Mr. Burns.
The king and his men returned, but could scarcely conceive how any human beings could reside in a place of utter darkness, and where the entrance was difficult and narrow. But as the bloodhounds which were released, like I do...
Oh dear. Or was I guess.
As the hounds increased in their vociferation, and returned, and refused to return, it occurred to all that the cave ought to be explored to the extremity. Accordingly, a sufficient number of torches was provided. The hounds were permitted to pursue their course. A great number of men penetrated through all the intricacies of the path, and at length arrived at the private entrance of the cannibals.
Very good.
Mr. Burns speaks of penetration, and all of a sudden Smithers' ears perk up.
I'll tell you this much, Homer Simpson is cock of nothing!
Next.
One moment. Okay. Someone was getting a little angsty. So they get into timeout.
Don't be angsty, guys.
Where was that one?
I don't know.
Made me lose my place.
Last one we did was Mr. Burns.
Harry Hook.
Oh, sweet Jesus. You know, the Scottish accent is really difficult to pull off.
But now you're expecting me to do Harry Hook for you, laddie.
Yeah, how about that, baby? Does that Scottish accent do it for you?
Better than nothing. I'll take it.
Ugh. He's underage, you know.
He's old enough. I mean, the actor is.
Let's see.
They were followed by all the band, who were shocked to behold a sight unequalled in Scotland, if not for any large part of the universe. Legs, arms, thighs, hands, and feet of men, women, and children were suspended in rows like dried beef. Some limbs and other members were soaked in pickled, while a great mass of money, both of gold and silver, watches, rings, pistols, clothes, both linen and woolen, were an immense quantity of other articles, were either thrown together in heaps or suspended upon the sides of the cave. Am I done, laddie?
What?
He's 24.
Aha!
He was legal.
Happy Halloween to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I said, I'll take it. Not my favorite one, but I'll take it.
Fine. I see how it is. Just reject me and my lame American accent.
Yes, that's what this whole 5.5 years has been, dear. Rejection.
You're sitting
exactly.
You're sitting very patiently for the next time I might bust out some of the Scottish.
Yeah. Okay.
She's a very patient woman.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
We established that long ago. I am not a patient woman. Orson Welles.
Orson Welles. Just a moment. French. The whole cruel, brutal family, to the number formerly mentioned, were seized, the human flesh buried in the sand of the seashore, the immense booty carried away, and the king marched to Edinburgh with the prisoners. This new and wretched spectacle attracted the attention of the inhabitants, who flocked from all quarters to see, as they passed along, so bloody and unnatural a family which had increased, in the space of 25 years, to the number of 27 men and 21 women. Holy shit.
Language.
English! You didn't have to press 1 to hear it. Arrived in the capital, they were all confined in the toll booth under a strong guard, and were next day conducted to the common place of execution in Langwalk, and executed without any formal trial, it being deemed unnecessary to try those who are avowed enemies of all mankind and of all social order. Well, that's quick. Let's see, the final voice for this story?
Unicron.
The enormity of their crimes dictated the severity of their death. The men had their entrails thrown into the fire. Their hands and legs were severed from their bodies, and they were permitted to bleed to death.
Oh, how kind. They were permitted to bleed to death.
The wretched mother of the whole crew, the daughters and grandchildren, after being spectators of the death of the men, were cast into 3 separate fires and consumed to ashes. Nor did they, in general, display any signs of repentance or regret, but continued, with their last breath, to pour forth the most dreadful curses and imprecations upon all around. The end.
Very good.
Messed up.
What are we reading next?
Well, let's see. Is this a particularly long one? Yeah, this is looking like it's a little long. Aurelia, or The Tale of a Ghoul. Maybe not. But, yeah, 12 pages. Let's see. What is this?
We still got plenty of voice suggestions.
Do we?
Oh, yeah. We're not going to get to all of them, guys, but we're doing our best.
Let's see, what's a shorter story we got here?
You don't have to pick a short one. Unless you're getting tired.
Well, no, but some of these are going on for like 20 pages, which is quite hefty
be
reads, yeah. What do we got? Let us delve into George Dobson's Expedition to Hell.
Ooh.
Page 273. Da-da-da-da. And what are we starting with this one?
Jetfire?
Pass.
Okay. I didn't know what that was either. Scar.
There is no phenomenon in the nature less understood, and about which greater nonsense is written than dreaming. It is a strange thing. For my part, I do not understand it, nor have I any desire to do so, and I firmly believe that no philosopher that ever wrote knows a particle more about it than I do, however elaborate and subtle the theories he may advance concerning it. He knows not even what sleep is, nor can he determine its nature, so as to enable any common mind to comprehend him. And how, then, can he define that ethereal part of it, wherein the soul holds intercourse with the external world? How, in that state of abstraction, some ideas force themselves upon us, in spite of our efforts to get rid of them, while others we have resolved to bear about with us by night, as well as by day, refuse us their fellowship, even at periods when we most require their aid.
I have a confession to make.
Shoot.
The way that Jeremy Irons yells, Sarabi! I've always thought that was so freaking hot. I don't know why. Something about his voice is just,
Sarabi!
I don't know why.
He's not He's not summoning his queen to do her queenly duties.
I don't know, okay? I don't know.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Oh, are we gonna have to ban you?
Ban me. This is my stream.
No, not you. Come on, Primetime. Make suggestions, chat nicely, and everything's cool.
Let's not be not cool, please.
Okay, we're moving on to Starscream.
No, no! The philosopher knows nothing about either. And if he says he does, I entreat you to not believe him. He does not know what mind is, even his own mind, to which one would think he has the most direct access. Far less can he estimate the operations and powers of that of any other intelligent being. He does not even know with all his subtlety whether it be a power distinct from his body, or essentially the same, and only incidentally and temporarily endowed with different qualities. He sets himself to discover at what period of his existence the Union was established. He is baffled, for consciousness refuses the intelligence, declaring she cannot carry him far enough back to ascertain it. He tries to discover the precise moment when it is dissolved, but his consciousness is altogether silent, and all is darkness and mystery. For the origin, the matter that of countenance, at the time and mode of breaking up the union between soul and body, are in reality undiscoverable by our natural faculties, are not patent beyond the possibility of mistake. But whosoever can read this Bible and solve a dream can do either, without being subjected to any material error.
Pardon me. Next.
Super duper guy.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Sorry, it took me a second. It is on this ground that I like to contemplate not the theory of dreams, but the dreams themselves, because they prove to the unlettered man in a very forcible manner a distinct existence of the soul, and its lively and rapid intelligence with external nature, as well as with the world of spirits with which it has no acquaintance when the body is lying dormant, and the same to the soul as if it's sleeping in death. I hate myself! Friggin' super duper guy, what is your deal?
Where is super duper guy from?
Just a moment, pardon me. Super duper guy is the Superman knockoff in that, crap, what was it called? That Something in Toyland movie. Where this little kid gets trapped in a toy store on Christmas and all the toys come to life and his dad's caught somewhere and he might be kind of sort of in love with his cousin or something. Any of this ringing a bell?
No.
No. But anyway.
Miracle in Toyland.
Miracle in Toyland, that's it, thank you. It's stupid, well, especially stupid, because it's a Superman knockoff in a world that Superman is indeed a thing. Like, how can this guy be the prevalent property in a world where Superman exists? Ah! Anyway, next.
Next is Badoo.
Doobadoo?
Doobadoo.
Doobadoo.
I just saw it. Stupid Moose? Why does that sound so familiar?
I don't know, but it does.
What is Stupid Moose from, guys? I don't remember.
Yes. Remind us what Stupid Moose is, because we're both thinking it's something. Let's see.
But, okay, until we find that out, do the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas. Stupid movie reviews!
Oh, God. I haven't watched them in years. That's why I know Stupid Moose.
Okay, well, anyway, do, the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas.
I would try my hand at Stupid Moose, then move on to the mayor.
Okay.
I can't nothing of any dream that relates to the actions of the day. The person is not sound asleep who dreams about these things. There is no division between matter and mind, but they are mingled together in a sort of chaos. What a farmer would call compost, fermented and disturbing one another.
Great, your dreams are compost. Very nice. I find that in all dreams of that kind, men of every profession have dreams peculiar to their own occupations, and in their country at least, their import is generally understood. Every man's body is a barometer. A thing made up of the elements must be affected by the various changes and convulsions, and so the body assuredly is. Next.
Next is... Danger Mouse?
Pass.
Mr. Ed?
Pass.
Boris Karloff.
When I was a shepherd, all of the comforts of my life depended so much on good or bad weather. The first thing I did every morning was strictly to overhaul the dreams of the night, and I found that I could calculate better from then than from the appearance and changes of the sky. I know a keen sportsman who pretends that his dreams never deceive him. If he dream of angling and pursuing salmon in deep waters, he is sure of rain. But if fishing on dry ground, or in waters so low that the fish cannot get from him, it forebodes drought. Hunting or shooting hares is snow, and morrowful wind, etc. But the most extraordinary professional dream on record is, without all doubt, that well-known one of George Dobson, coach driver in Edinburgh, which I shall relate. For though it did not happen in the shepherd's cot, it has often been recited here. Oh yeah, there was a George Dobson in the story, wasn't there? Forgot about him. Next.
Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
George was part proprietor and driver of a hackney coach in Edinburgh when such vehicles were scarce, and one day a gentleman whom he knew came to him and said, "Like George, you must drive me and my son out here to our Wild Eagles concert," a certain place that he named somewhere in the vicinity of Edinburgh. Wow.
That was way too good. I can't believe Keanu Reeves ever did that. When I think of him, I think of Neo.
Is it really that far of a stretch?
Yes.
Whoa.
You shut your mouth about Keanu Reeves. Shut your mouth.
Oh, he is untouchable. Come on.
Much like Will Smith.
Yeah, kinda. Next.
Shere Khan.
"Sir," said George, "I never heard tell of such a place, and I cannot drive you to it unless you give me very particular directions." "It is false," returned the gentleman. "There is no man in Scotland who knows the road to that place better than you do. You have never driven on any other road all your life, and I insist on you taking us." "Very well, sir," said George Sanders. "I'll drive you to hell, if you have a mind. Only you are to direct me on the road." "Mount and drive on then," said the other, "and no fear of the road." So some guy gets a cab and just says, "Take me to hell." What? "Oh, you've been there lots of times. Just go." "Alright, you're gonna have to lead the way." "That's fine. Just go." Okay. Weirdo.
Nice.
Next.
I'm not going absolutely in order because some of these are, too obscure. Christopher Walken.
Always a classic. George did so, and never in his life did he see his horses go at such a noble rate. They snorted, they pranced, they flew on, wow, and as the whole road appeared to lie downhill, he deemed that he should soon come to his journey's end. And suddenly, my noise got all quiet behind me, and that's sort of creepy. Wow. Where was I? I'm sorry, just a sec. Let's go ahead and...
Did you lose your sound effects?
I did, actually. Let's go back here.
I could just unmute and chew for you.
Sorry?
Sorry. I said I could just unmute and chew for you.
That's quite alright. Just going back to my scene here.
Uh-oh.
What, you just saw the black
Fade it
there?
out.
I did. I went to this other thing to try to get my thing going again here.
Is your thing going again?
My background is still going. No, I know what the problem is. Sorry. I've got something else going on, which is providing the sound effects of the fire.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Okay. Well, you don't know.
I can hear you, so I would assume so. But my
Can you hear me through YouTube?
Probably. I don't know. My the sound effects for the fire that I had going on here was only like 3 hours long, and that's playing on YouTube currently, so I just had to press play on that again.
Ah, okay.
Which I need, because suddenly here I am in total silence, and it's kind of creepy.
Oh, no.
Ooh, that's got to be explored in a movie somewhere. You have a guy who's sitting by himself all alone, and he's got a nice roaring fire behind him on this side of the screen. And then it's still going, but it's totally silent.
Ugh.
There's no crackle or anything. The rain behind him is still going, but there's no rain like audibly falling down, even though you can see it falling. What's happening? I don't want to be here. Sorry about that. Back to the stream.
Back to the stream. Ready for a new voice?
Now that I'm not creeped out anymore, yes.
Original Frosty the Snowman.
George did so, and never in his life did he see his horses. I already read this part, didn't I? Happy birthday! He called to the gentleman, inquiring what he should do, who answered that this was the place that they were bound to, so he might draw up, dismiss them, and return. He did so, alighted from the dickey, wondered at his foaming horses, and forthwith opened the coach door, held the rim of his hat with his other hand, and with the other demanded his fare. "You have driven us in fine style, George," said the elder gentleman, "and deserve to be remembered. But it is needless for us to settle just now, as you just met us here again tomorrow precisely at 12 o'clock. Next.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Hound from the Transformers?
Hound. What does hound sound like? Pass.
Okay. Bert and Ernie.
Very well, sir, said George. And there is likewise an old account you know, and some toll money, which indeed there was.
It shall be settled tomorrow, Bert. And moreover, I fear there will be some toll money today.
I perceive no tolls today, Your Honor, said George.
Oh, but I received one, and not very far back either, which I suspect you will have difficulty in repassing without regular ticket. What a pity I have no change on me. Next.
Very good.
Thank you.
Um,
I'm gonna eat cookies in your bed, Bert.
Elmo.
I never saw it otherwise, with your honor, said George jocularly. What a pity it is! You should always suffer yourself to run short of change. I will give you that which is good, George, said the gentleman, as he gave him a ticket written with red ink, which with the honest coachman could not read. Next voice, please.
Big Bird.
He, however, put it into his sleeve and inquired of his employer where that same toll was which he had not observed, and how that they did not ask toll from him that he came through. The gentleman replied by informing George that there was no road out of that domain, and that whoever entered it must either remain in it or return by the same path. So they never asked any toll till the person's return, when they were at times highly capricious, but that the ticket he had given him would answer his turn. And he then asked George if he did not perceive at gate with a number of men in black standing about it. Next.
Cookie Monster.
Oh, is yon the spot? Says George. Then me assure you, honor, yon is no toll gate, but a private entrance to a great man's mansion. For do not... I know 2 or 3 of the persons yonder to be gentlemen of the law, whom I have driven often and often, and as good fellows as they are many not me know. Men who never let themselves run short of change. Good day. 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Next. Yeah, Cookie Monster just drove him to hell. There you go.
Raul Julia as Gomez Adams.
Yes, 12 o'clock noon precisely. And with that, George's employer vanished in the gloom, and left him to wind his way out of that dreary labyrinth the best way he could. He found it no easy matter, for his lamps were not lighted, and he could not see an ell before him. He could not even perceive his horse's ears, and what was worse, there was a rushing sound, like that of a town on fire all around him, that stunned his senses, so that he could not tell whether his horses were moving or standing still. And I have visited hell!
Very good.
But until this day, I have never seen you!
Next, boys.
Igor, you said?
Igor.
George was in the greatest distress imaginable, and was glad when he perceived the gate before him, and his 2 identical friends, men of the law, standing still. George drove boldly up, accosted them by their names, and asked what they were doing there. They made him no answer, but pointed to the gate and the keeper. George was terrified to look at this later personage, who now came up and seized his horses by the reins, refusing to let him pass. In order to introduce himself, in some degree, to this austere tollman, George asked him, in a jocular manner, how he came to employ his two eminent friends as assistant gatekeepers. Next.
Next is Joe Pesci.
Because they are among the last comers, replied the ruffian churlishly. You will be the assistant here tomorrow. The devil I will, sir. Yes, the devil you will, sir. I'll be damned if I do then, that I will. Yes, you'll be damned if you do, that you will. I'm agreeing with you mook. Next.
The narrator from The Black Cauldron.
Oh man, that guy's got a great voice on him. Let my horses go in the meantime. Then, sir, that I may proceed on my journey. Nay. Nay? Dare you say nay to me, sir? My name is George Dobson of the Pleasance in Edinburgh, coach driver, and coach proprietor too. And no man shall say nay to me, as long as I can pay my way. I have His Majesty's license, and I'll go and come as I choose, and that I will. Let my horses there, and tell me what is your demand. Next.
Bobby Wobbly.
Whiplash is fun.
Uh-huh.
Well then, I'll let your horses go, said the keeper, but I'll keep yourself for a pledge. And with that, he let go of the horses and seized Honest George by the throat, who struggled in vain to disengage himself, and swore and threatened, according to his own confession, most bloodily. Do you like bubbles?
Oh, gosh.
Next.
Clayface from Batman the Animated Series.
Pass. Sorry.
Sweetums.
His horse flew off like the wind, so swift that the coach seemed flying in the air, and scarcely bounding on the earth once a quarter of a mile. George was in furious wrath, for he saw that his grand coach and harness would be all broken to pieces, and his gallant pair of horses maimed or destroyed. And how was his family's bread now to be won? He struggled, threatened, and prayed in vain. The intolerable tall man was deaf to all remonstrances. Once he appealed to his two genteel acquaintances of the law, reminded them how he had of late driven them to Roslyn on a Sunday, along with two ladies, who he supposed were their sisters from their familiarity, when not another coachman in town would engage with them. Whew! Run-on sentences are fun.
Uh-huh.
Next.
Cheech or Chong.
But the gentlemen very ungenerously only shook their heads and pointed to the gate. George's circumstances now became desperate, and again he asked the hideous tall man what right he had to detain him, and what were his charges. What right have I to detain you, sir, say you? Who are you to make such a demand here, man? Do you not know where you are, sir? No, faith, I do not, returned George. I wish I did, but I shall know and make you repent for your insolence, too. My name, I told you, is Dave. Dave's not here, man. My name is George Dobson, licensed coach hirer in Pleasance, Edinburgh.
Oh yeah, you sounded straight out of Edinburgh.
Yes, it's that thick Scottish brogue.
To get full redress of you for this lawful interruption, I only desire to know what I am.
I'm
obedient to Carlos Mencia there.
Yes. Next we need to go, we're doing a morph from Disney's original Mad Hatter into Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter.
Just laying on the Scottish here, aren't we?
and then, you know, the entire range of Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then, sir, if it can give you so much satisfaction to know where you are, said the keeper with a malicious grin, you shall know, for you shall take instruments by the hands of your two friends here, instituting a legal prosecution. Your address, you may be assured, will be most ample, when I inform you that you are in hell, and now to this gate you shall pass no more!
Thank you.
I can't help it! I can't help it! These damn Scottish and Irish accents get me!
And better still, Scottish or Irish yelling at you, apparently.
What
Salabi!
life?
Sorry, what?
What has happened to me in a previous life? I don't know.
I wonder.
Raven does like Scottish, Grace. Raven likes Scottish a lot. Does Raven like Scottish? Yes.
Do you like Scottish?
Not like that. Don't ruin it for me. Oh boy.
Oh boy. At what does she oh boy?
This is the opposite of sexy. Are you ready?
Will be in a moment.
Hurry up! You need to drink water.
I'm drinking water.
All I see is you drinking booze.
That was actually my second drink this entire evening. So ha!
Oh. But
But
it will not. It's not going to do your throat any favors.
You've seen me be drinking this here.
And eventually the stream will catch up, and I won't be looking at you, so I won't know what you're drinking.
Damn lag.
Oh wait, now you just showed me your refilled water bottle.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Bob needs to wear a kilt. That not so much. More the accent than the outfit. Okay.
But you don't want to see me in a little
sexy.
tam o' shanter?
No. For the next, although I have seen some pictures of guys with long hair shirtless wearing a kilt, and I have to say I wasn't mad at them. Anyway,
Hair blowing behind me.
yes.
There can be only one lass. You're welcome.
He's got some nice legs, Raven. He really does. He might be able to pull off a kilt.
No, you might be able to pull off a kilt. Hi-oh!
Oh God.
What?
How appropriate.
What?
Austin Powers. Bleh.
This was rather a damper to George, and he began to foresee that nothing would be gained in such a place by the strong hand, so he addressed the inexorable Tollman, whom he now dreaded more than ever, in the following terms. Yeah. But I must go home to all events, you know, sir, to unyoke my 2 horses and put them up, and to inform Christy Halliday, my wife, of my engagement.
So hang on. His last name is Dobson, but his wife's last name is Halliday? Wow, how very progressive for mid-19th century Scotland.
And everything that you do in the Austin Powers voice sounds cringy. I'm unyoking 2 horses, and how it just sounds cringy.
Yeah.
Bleh.
And bless me, baby, I never collected till this moment that I'm engaged to be back here tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and see, here's a free ticket for my passage this way. Gravy, baby, yeah!
No. Austin Powers is what guys who think they're... it's when you're trying to be sexy, like... you know, trying to sound smarmy. I don't know how to describe it. But anyway, that's what you sound like. You sound like Austin frickin' Powers. So, guys, just keep that in mind. Don't try too hard.
And it works!
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, tell Austin Powers' his many, many groupies that it doesn't work.
It's written by men.
Oh no. Oh no. We have so many properties today that feel like they need to make corrections for sins of the past.
God.
Oh yes.
Oh, no.
We need to have a woke Austin Powers reboot.
We do not. Austin Powers. No. Have Austin Powers without him being a perv. Woke perv is just not gonna fly well. It's gonna be really weird.
It's wonderful. I really mean this. It is wonderful that Austin Powers is not your thing. It never will be your thing. But you're not asking for it to be fixed. Just let it be its own thing.
Do you
whatever
know
it
what
is.
I know of Austin Powers.
What?
Do you know how much I know about Austin Powers, the movies?
I don't. How much do you
The
know?
clips that I've seen. I've never watched one of the movies.
Aha! We're gonna have to sit down and rectify that one of these days.
So many better things to watch.
Like what?
Just about anything.
Oh, just about anything. That is cute. Because Austin Powers is the worst that cinema has to offer, right?
Oh,
There was a time you thought that Starship Troopers was the worst thing ever made. That's
no.
cute.
Next Race, the Beauty and the Beast remake would definitely be so much better to watch.
Ugh. Yes, pardon me while I slump back in my chair here. Ugh. Why does that not surprise me? So many better things to watch.
I love that movie.
You're wrong.
I'm gonna make him watch it again.
Oh yes, please do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Next.
On to it next. Yes.
Roger Rabbit.
The keeper took the ticket with one hand, but still held George with the other. Oh, you're in with your honorable friend, Mr. R dash 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 of L dash 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 Y. I don't know how to read this, Eddie. Seriously, look at this. How am I supposed to read that? I don't know. You have been in our book for a long while. However, this will you do. Only will you put your name to it likewise. And the engagement is this. You, by this instrument, engage your soul that you will return here by tomorrow at noon. Breathe.
Very good.
Thank you.
The Kool-Aid Man.
Oh, yeah. Catch me there, Billy, says George. I'll engage no such thing. Depends on it that I will not. Oh, no. Then remain where you are, said the keeper, for there's no other alternative. We like best for people to come here in their own way, in the way of their businesses. With that, he flung George backwards, heels over head down the hill, and closed the gate. Oh no!
I don't know why it's so funny. Yes, I do. Because I've been smoking.
But that's the only reason, right?
It helps.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh yeah!
You ready for the next one?
Yes.
Howie Mandel from Hansel and Gretel.
Oh god. To anybody in my audience who is of the homosexual persuasion, I deeply apologize for this incredibly offensive voice I'm about to do.
You've done racist voices.
Yes, and they know it's hilarious. George, finding all remonstrance vain, and being desirous once more to see the opening day, and breathe the fresh air, and likewise see his Christy Halliday, his wife, yeah, I'm sure, and set his house and stable in some order, came up again, and in utter desperation, signed the bond, and was suffered to depart. Then he bounded away from the track of his horses, and with more than ordinary swiftness, in hopes to overtake them, and always now and then uttered aloud, "Whoa!" in hopes that they might hear and obey, though he could not come in sight of them. Don't want you to come round here. No more. No more.
No more.
Good lord.
It's funny.
Oh yeah, these other voices are totally racist and wrong, but that one's good. That's funny.
Don't give me trouble.
I'm giving you trouble! Oh god, I am gonna give you trouble. Because that's something we're gonna have to review later.
What?
A movie simply called Trouble.
Is it bad?
The other night, I was looking for a clip that needed to go into my next review, so I went to Kim Cartoon to fetch it. And, you know, they got all these movies of their this list of their latest releases on there. I couldn't stop downloading. They all looked horrible.
Wow.
Yes. And I forget exactly what it was about, but all I know is that there is a movie called Trouble in our future, and it looks awful. So, spoiler alert to anyone watching, Trouble is coming. Mark my words.
Oh boy.
But yes, next.
Next is... Oh, I'm saving that one. I forgot about that one.
Uh-oh.
That's a good one. Centauri from The Last Starfighter?
Pass.
You already passed on that. Got that already. Randy Marsh?
Pass.
Do.
Too generic a voice.
Sparkle Fairy from the Sparkle Paper Towel commercials?
Don't know what that one is. I'm sorry. I just said that I am passing on Randy Marsh because he's too generic a voice. I will, however, give you this as a little concession. Oh my god. One of his best little catchphrases.
What was that from?
That's a common Randyism, who is just a complete... He's such a spaz. He just overreacts to everything. So, yeah, he's constantly panicking about every little thing. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Alright. How about Stitch?
But George's grief was but beginning, for at a well-known and dangerous spot, there was a 10-yard on one hand and a quarry on the other. He came to his gallant steeds overturned, the course smashed to pieces, Dottie with 2 of her broken legs, and Duncan dead. This was more than the worthy coachman could bear, and many degrees worse than being in hell. There his pride and manly spirit bore upon him the worst of treatment, but here his heart entirely failed him, and he laid himself down, and his face on his 2 hands, and he wept bitterly, bewailing in the most deplorable terms his 2 gallant horses, Dottie and Duncan.
That's kind of cruel. We don't even get these horses' names until they're, like, dead or horribly beaten. Oh, now they're important!
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Next.
Next is... Do we have any more horrible voices that we haven't done?
I think we've already done them all once.
Okay, we're not going to do them again. I'm just asking if I don't need to save this one, we'll go ahead and do it. Jareth from the Labyrinth.
You're welcome. While lying in this unconsolable state, someone took hold of his shoulder and shook it, and a well-known voice said to him, "Geordie, what is the matter with ye, Geordie?" George was provoked beyond measure at the insolence of the question, for he knew the voice to be that of Christy Halliday, his wife. "I think you needna ask that." The book doesn't write needn't, need apostrophe NT. It actually says needna. You needna ask yourself that, seeing what you see. "I think you needna ask that, seeing what you see," said George. "Oh, my poor Dottie. Where are you, your jinkins and prancings now? Your moopings and your wincings. I'll ne'er be a proud man again, bereaved of my bonny pair."
I never thought I'd hear David Bowie said moopings.
And now he's doing Shakespeare with his horse.
Moopings?
Where are your jeers, your jests? Moopings?
Moopings.
Moopings. And wincings? What is he doing to that poor horse? I'm sorry, little girl. You understand that I'm doing this purely for medical reasons. Snap.
Creepy. Next, boys.
Oh, there are so many worse things that horse handlers do.
Next, boys. Do you know who Mr. Peanut Butter is?
No, sorry.
Okay, that didn't strike a chord with me either. Count Olaf from Series of Unfortunate Events.
Get up, George, get up, and bestow yourself, said Christy Halliday, his wife. You are wanted directly to bring in the Lord President to the Parliament House. It is a great storm, and he must be there by 9 o'clock. Get up, rouse yourself, and make ready. His servant is waiting for you.
Oh, wow.
Shall we take a look?
Don't make it creepier.
Next.
Next is... You did that one. E.T.
What?
I don't know. E.T. And then we have a sponsored post. And Mr. Peanut Butter is from the amazing, in parentheses, amazing, Netflix show BoJack Horseman.
Don't know that show. Sorry.
Sorry, but after you do what I just, E.T., then you have a
E.T.
sponsored
then
post.
sponsor post, yes. Woman. Demented. How go, Lord President? Coach broken. Dottie lying broken. Duncan dead. Previous engagement. Be in hell. 12 o'clock.
Oh, this is painful. Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Sponsored
Ouch.
post. Yeah, ouch. Sponsored post is not going to be much better.
Uh-oh.
Barney!
Hey, at least he's got a voice. At least I can read with him. Christy Halliday now laughed outright and continued long in a fit of laughter, but George never moved his head from the pillow, but lay and groaned. For in fact, he was all this while lying snug in his bed, while the tempest without was roaring with great violence, and which circumstance may perhaps account for the rushing and deafening sound which astounded him so much in hell.
That's so creepy.
That's right. Yep. When you dream, you're actually in hell. Yippee! Next.
The Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
But so deeply was he impressed with the idea of the reality of his dream that he would soon do nothing but lie and moan, persisting at believing in the truth of all he had seen. His wife now went and informed her neighbors of her husband's plight and of his singular engagement with Mr. R. of L.Y. What are they doing? Mr. R. line of L.Y. or L-Y. Just write Mr. So-and-so of where? I don't care if it's fictional, I'll believe it. At 12 o'clock, she persuaded one friend to harness the horses and go for the Lord President, but all the rest laughed immoderately at poor Coachy's predicament. Coachy? Next.
Next is... You did that one. You did that one. Mr. Bison?
Is it M. Bison? Is that how it was written?
Yeah, maybe it was M. Bison.
It was, however, no laughing to him. He never raised his head, and his wife, becoming that uneasy about the frenzied state of his mind, made him repeat every circumstance of his adventure to her, for he had never believed or admitted that it was a dream, which he did in the terms above narrated, and she perceived or dreaded that he was becoming somewhat feverish. He went out and told Dr. Wood of her husband's malady, of his solemn and engagement to be in hell at 12 o'clock. Of course! Next.
Very good. Next is Bill Murray from Ghostbusters.
Pass.
Rotor Walrus.
Pass.
Beaker.
There's gotta be him in one of these, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. And now finish with Dr. Benson Honeydew. Sorry, Bunsen Honeydew.
and now I'm being forced to read in an exaggerated Scottish accent again, as is written in the text. Are you sure he hasn't been drinking hard? He assured him he had not. Well, your man are telling that he has meant to keep the engagement at no rate. Set back the clock, and I'll come and see him. It is a frenzy that manna be trifled with. Ye manna laugh at it, dearie. Manna laugh at it. M-A-U-N-N-A. Manna? What is that? What's that supposed to be?
I don't know.
Maybe a nervous fever, Watkins. And now suddenly I can't help but think of Rocky from Chicken Run. Was that English?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I got nothing. And the little Scottish chicken just keeps on talking. I swear she's not using real words. Next.
Next is Doc Brown.
Right, Scott. The doctor and Christie left the house together, and as their role lay in the same way for a space, she fell telling him of two young lawyers from whom George saw standing at the gate of hell, and whom the portal had described as two of the last commoners. When the doctor heard this, he stayed and hurried, stooping pace in one moment, and turned round full on the woman, fixing his eyes on her that gleamed with a deep, unstable luster, and said, "What's with you saying, dearie? What's that you were saying? Repeat it again to me, every word." Next.
Crush from Finding Nemo.
She did so, on which the doctor held up his hands as if palsied with astonishment and uttered some fervent ejaculations.
What?
Oh my! I'll repeat that. We're still in Penny Dreadfuls here.
Okay.
Which at the time was considered cheap exploitative trash by the highfalutin literary crowd.
I can see why.
I'm basically reading the Michael Bay of Victorian books here.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Aren't you proud?
Oh yes. It was on which the doctor held up his hands as if palsied with astonishment and uttered some fervent ejaculations. So he threw up his hands in astonishment, and I guess proceeded to do the jerking off motion. Oh, thank you for asking.
Cool
That can't be scary.
Behave yourself.
Yes, cool cat. Wow, this book is so astonishing!
That's awful.
Yes, it is. Next.
Ba-dum. Dr. Mephisto?
Pass.
Marlon Brando's The Godfather?
I'll go with your strength, he said, before I visit another patient. This is wonderful. It is terrible. A young gentleman are both at rest. Both lying corpses at this time. fine young men. I attended them both. Died of the same exterminating disease. Oh, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. I make him an offer I can't refuse.
Very good.
It's so wonderful.
Alright, here's something completely different.
Before we do, I have but one request. Say hello to Grandmama. Isom.
Oh, that was a very good Godfather impression in that movie.
Thank you. And now for something completely different. It's...
Glinda the Good Witch.
Oh, Lord. Speaking of things completely different, oh boy. Glinda in hell, there you go. The doctor kept Christy half running all the way down the high street and St. Meriden's Wind. As such a place did he walk, never lifting his eyes from the pavement, but always exclaiming now and then, "It is wonderful, most wonderful." At length, prompted by a woman's natural curiosity, Christy inquired at the doctor if he knew anything of their friend, Mr. R. of Ellie. But he shook his head and replied, Nah, dearie. Ken nothing about him. He and his son are bathed in London. Ken nothing about him. But the thither is awful. It is perfectly awful."
And we have Brandon just joined the stream,
Hello, Brandon.
and he is making a request that I am pushing up just because. Snuffleupagus.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Snuffy's in hell. Does Snuffy...
No, not Snuffy.
Does Snuffy come from hell?
No.
Is that why Big Bird could see him only in his mind?
No.
You know what you have to do now, Bird. Burn down Sesame Street.
You stop it. You stop it. Shut your mouth. Do not disparage Snuffy. And yes, Elizabeth, they did prove that Snuffy was real, so meh.
How?
Watch more Sesame Street.
I guess. When Dr. Wood reached his patient, he found him very low, but only a little feverish. So he made all haste to wash his head with vinegar and cold water. Okay. And then he covered the crown with a treacle plaster and made the same application to the soles of his feet, awaiting the issue. George revived a little when the doctor tried to cheer him up by joking about him and his dream, but on mention of that he groaned and shook his head. "So you are convinced, dearie, that it is nae dream?" said the doctor.
Love Snuffleupagus.
Snuffleupagus saying, "So, are you sure you are actually in hell?" I don't know. Next.
Oh, next. Do-do-do. James Woods Hades.
Oh, God. I will try to say this without stumbling over myself, and I will fail. "Dear sir, how could it be a dream?" said the patient. "I was there in person with Mr. R. and his son, and see, here is marks of the porter's fingers on my throat." Dr. Wood looked and instinctively saw 2 or 3 red spots on one side of his throat, which confounded him, and not a little. "I assure you, sir," considered George, "it was no dream, which I know to my sad experience. I have lost my coach and my horses. What more have I? Signed it at the bond with my own hand, and in person entered not into the most solemn and terrible engagement." Whew.
That's hard.
Yes, it is, and you gotta do it fast, otherwise it's not Hades. Next.
Next is Tim Curry's Pennywise.
"But you're no to keep it, I tell ye," said Dr. Wood. You're now to keep it at no rate. It is a sin to enter into a compact with the devil, but it is far greater, and to keep it. Say, let Mr. R and his son bide where they are yonder, for you set a stir afoot to bring them out the day. Waha! Waha! Waha!
Of course, you have to end with that.
Of course, because that's the only way that you can tell that it's Pennywise. Because, again, they got the Scottish accent written for me right here, but Tim Curry doing a Scottish accent, that's just his Long John Silver.
Oh boy, we have a sponsored post.
Don't get your hopes up, laddie. And if another volley are shot, that means that they've taken over the Hispaniola, and I'm the new captain.
Oh my goodness.
But new sponsored post, what is it?
Tuffy from Tom and Jerry Wizard of Oz. It's a sponsored post.
It is a sponsored post, but I can't do it because I can't do a good Kath Sousey. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to think of something else.
Okay, sorry, Grace, think of something else. In the meantime...
It's not enough that I object to it on a personal level. Just, sorry, no, I can't do her.
Can you do the original Queen of Hearts?
Pass.
Okay. No problem. Shrek.
All the Scottish. Oh, doctor! I groaned the poor fellow. This is not a thing to be made a jest of. I feel that it is an engagement that I cannot break. Go I must, and that very shortly. Yes, go I must, and go I will, although I should borrow Davy Barclay's peer. Excuse me? The hell does that mean? Next! I don't want to talk about
By
borrowing.
the way, Archer Slam Bam is laughing at you for saying sorry, but I can't do her.
Oh boy.
Family approved!
And I have Grace's alternative.
What's that?
Puss in Boots from Shrek. Antonio Banderas.
With that, he turned his face towards the wall, groaned deeply, and fell into a lethargy, while Dr. Wood caused them to let him alone, thinking if he would sleep out the appointed time, which was at hand, he would be safe. But all that time he kept feeling his pulse, and by degrees showed symptoms of uneasiness. His wife ran for a clergyman of famed abilities to pray and converse with her husband in hopes that by means to bring him to his senses. But after his arrival, George never spoke more, save calling to his horses, as if encouraging them to run with great speed, and thus in imagination driving them at full career to keep his appointment. He went off in paroxysm, after a terrible struggle, precisely within a few minutes of 12 o'clock. Yikes. Next.
How many more voices do you have?
Actually, just one more for this story.
Just one more, so this needs to be the last one.
I know, seeing that
almost
it's
9 o'clock.
pushing 9 o'clock. We've been doing this for almost 4 hours now. Good lordy.
Yeah, I'm sure Rob's ready to rest his voice a bit. Okay. I'm trying to think of
Final
what-
voice for the final story. What's it gonna be?
Let's see. Well, it's 10 minutes to Sabrina's birthday,
Oh ho.
so I think we will do whichever voice that Sabrina would like to hear. That way I don't have to pick.
What do you got for us?
Give her a minute to answer.
Chloe book.
It is very glowy. I looked up at... I have to watch what I'm writing.
Uh-huh.
So I looked up and all of a sudden there's like this weird glowy donut thing on the corner of your book. I'm like, what in the world?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a voice that I haven't done yet. Donut.
Donut, 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 donut.
There.
Okay, Sabrina would like to hear for her birthday voice Bella Lugosi. A very good choice.
Yes, the the most perfect voice that this stream could end on. A circumstance not known at the time of George's death made this singular professional dream the more remarkable and unique in all its parts. It was a terrible storm on the night of the dream, and as has been already mentioned, and during the time of the hurricane, a London smack went down from Weirmouth about 3 in the morning. Among the sufferers were the Honourable Mr. R. of Ly and his son. George could not know aught of this at break of day, for it was not known in Scotland till the day of his interment, and as little knew he of the deaths of the 2 young lawyers, who both died of the smallpox the evening before. The end.
A very good choice for the last one of the stream. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. And bear in mind, we only delved very, very faintly into 2 of the books that I have in my collection. So,
Yeah, this is kind of his thing, in case you didn't know that. Not so much the 5-minute Disney princess and stuff like that. I mean, we got that specifically for the stream. But
yeah, those were fun.
These are books in his personal collection.
Yes. Yes. Be sure to tune in for our next streams coming in October for the official Halloween Storytime with Bob show. And maybe next year we might revive Quarantine-O-Ween, who knows? Because we still have to read from classic ghost stories, classic supernatural stories, and I'm dropping crap all over the place, and classic horror stories. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everything in between, we bid thee pleasant nightmares.
Stay safe, stay at home,
Yes,
and stay healthy.
always.
And if we have any doctors or nurses or any other essential employees that are keeping the world running as best they can,
Yes.
while the rest of us are hiding in our homes,
No,
thank you very much for everything that you're doing.
we are not hiding. I actually saw a post on Facebook that I thought was very, very uplifting. You might see the empty streets of the world and think that this is the apocalypse. This is the end of the world. But no. Do you know what you see when you look at all these empty streets? The largest collection of communal love in the world. We are keeping ourselves inside because we are making sure that we do not hurt the ones that we love. And those that we don't even
the ones
know.
that somebody else loves.
Yes, we are doing this for our friends and for our family and for total strangers, which, at the core, is part of what Halloween is all about. Like what I talked about in my review for Where the Dead Go to Die. We are dressing up in costumes, and we're going to strangers' houses and saying, "Hey, I want some candy." And they say, "Okay, here you go." And we are trusting that they're not going to poison us, and they are trusting us that we won't vandalize their home for giving us crappy treats. So, yes, at its core, Halloween is all about trusting these strangers that we otherwise do not know. Just opening our hearts just that little bit for this one night of the year to give us goodies and say, "Hey, I trust you, and I'm happy that you trust me, and I'm going to trust you in kind." And that is what Quarantine-O-Ween is all about. Celebrating that trust for everybody, and the love that we have for everyone in the entire world. So, happy Quarantine-O-Ween, everybody.
We have Melissa Miller, who is a certified pharmacy technician.
Really?
She's still going to work, yes. And Truly Hopeless works at Taco Bell. Man, I wanted some damn Taco Bell tonight.
I'm sorry
I
they
wanted
couldn't
some Taco
deliver.
Bell. Yeah, DoorDash has just let me down. I was wanting one of those vegetarian black bean crunch wraps. And
Oh,
I'm not going to get it. Oh, well.
I'm
But,
sorry.
Thank you for working at Taco Bell.
Yes,
And Bob works at Domino's, and he goes to work, and he's taking a risk too. So we have to thank all of you guys.
Yes, all of you
Not
doctors,
just
all of you.
nurses, but
Yes, all the doctors, all you restaurateurs, all of you grocers out there. God bless you.
yes, thank you.
All
And
of you
on the other side of
essential
this,
people.
every one of us needs to insist that you are paid like an essential employee that you were during this crisis. And I,
Yes.
for one, will definitely be getting up in my Congress people's face and my representatives and insisting that people who have worked through this crisis, they deserve the minimum wage to be raised, because some of you guys are doing this for minimum wage, and that is ludicrous. You should be
This
getting
guy over
hazard
here.
pay. You should be getting hazard pay, and when a minimum wage needs to be raised.
I will say this. It is very, very encouraging that even in this time of crisis, we have people who are still not only buying pizza, which might seem to some like a frivolity food, like it's a special treat or something, but they're, at least as far as I'm concerned, tipping me very nicely, when they really don't have to. But I recognize that as the thank you that it's supposed to be. These people are giving me just that little much more, just because I am out there putting myself at risk, and I greatly appreciate that. And yes, it's easy to focus on the long lines around grocery stores. We sneer at videos of people beating each other up over what limited toilet paper supplies are left. But it's just little things like that. Just a couple extra dollars here. This little thank you that says, I don't know you, but I care about you. And that's what's making me think that we're going to get through this okay.
Yeah. But
We are-
anyway, as I said,
But yes,
stay
sorry.
safe,
Yes. Stay safe.
stay home,
Stay home. Stay healthy.
stay healthy.
Stay cleaned, sanitized, and keep on doing what you're doing, guys.
Be extra nice and share whatever you can with those who don't have the same opportunities, be it nothing more than just kindness with people who are having to deal with unkind people.
Yes.
If your income is unaffected, tip generously. Buy gift certificates from these closed small businesses, because at the end of this, we don't know how many of them are going to be left if we don't take care of them now.
That's an idea. I hadn't
Yeah.
thought of that. If they're available online or anything, yeah, buy some. Yeah, if you can't buy their product outright online, then yeah, gift certificates. There you go, gift cards and such.
But at the very least, you can afford kindness.
That comes at no cost.
And it's very, very valuable.
More valuable than you know. So, yes, thank you all for joining me on this super spooky edition of Storytime with Bobsheauxween Live. Thunderclasp. Come on. I really need a crew on my end here. I love you,
really
baby.
do.
You are a wonderful moderator. You are a wonderful fisher of voices. And someone to play off of. But I need someone on this end. Black Leonard Dave, where are you? I need you. I need you shaking for thunder and flashing lightning at me.
There you go.
But yes, we will see you guys at our next stream. And
Which will
be safe.
probably be probably won't be a month, because we're going to end up doing extra stuff during the quarantine, and we all know the quarantine's not going to be over in less than a month. So
It'd be nice, but
it's just not feasible. Can't happen.
but we shall see you guys later, and have a good night.
Good night, guys.